Chai Moon and her daughter, 5. When Shan sighed at that. It's true he hoped Bai Yan would return someday, but it's also true he had hoped for his daughter to accept Chai Moon. For it to turn out this way and in such conflict, it's undoubtedly leaving him in a bind. So it's my mother's fault that you ignored your secret lover for so many years? Or is it that you delighted in the fact that you had another woman out there and didn't have to care for them? Getting dark in her smirk, Bai Yan starts becoming a thorn in the man's side with her words. I bet you're thinking both right? Humph. Only a power-hungry man like your father from the one clan can produce a scum like you. That's right, only a bad parent could produce such bad offsprings. Otherwise, why else would this one Shan become like so? It must be due to the teaching of the current one clan's head. Yenner. When Shan flew into a rage, his eyes full of disbelief over what he's heard. How did my sweet daughter become so aggressive? She's nothing like how I remember her to be. Despite his own emotions, the coward nevertheless sucked it up, knowing the fault lies with himself. Softening up in his tone. I believe you will one day accept her. I believe in my Yenner, the kind and sweet daughter that I know. You don't need to say any more, Brother Shan. It's then Chai Moon spoke up with her fraudulent face of tears again. In the eyes of others, I will always be the family-destroying third party. No matter what I do in this family, it will always be in vain. But I never asked for anything when Bai Yu was still around. She's gone now, and I needed to look out for Fei Fei's future. That's why I came to this family. At this point, Chai Moon's smile had gone sad and remorseful. Now looking back at it, me coming to this place is a mistake. I never asked for anything, but they all keep misunderstanding me. It's good that Yenner is back. Now me and Fei Fei will leave and give way like everyone wants. Mom! When Fei Fei cried out, throwing herself over to cling onto her own mother. You endured so much after so many years just to be here, just to be by Papa's side. If you leave, then who's going to care for Papa in the future? But I don't want to destroy other people's family. As long as your Papa and sister are happy, then I'm satisfied. When Shan may be a coward, but he's no heartless bastard. When he saw how moving this scene was between the pair there, his heart ached in agony like anyone should. It's as if someone was reaching into his heart and twisting it. I'm really too much. What the hell have I been doing all these years? I knew Chai Moon loves me, yet I'm always being neither hot nor cold with her. So what if she's not as good as Bai Yu? She may not have the look or family background, but she loves me. This is enough. Think up to here. When Shan's original softened expression once again stirred up. Yenner, you shouldn't leave anymore now that you are back. Also, you must call Chai Moon your mother from now on. She's been through a lot during these past few years. Do you understand? And your birth mother, she's gone already. When mentioning this fact, the man found it difficult to breathe, like he didn't abandon his own wife in the first place. I want to re-emphasize the point. Chai Moon is not some third party. She is my wife. She will fulfill her motherly duties, so you don't have to worry. Bai Yan couldn't resist a sneer after hearing all that. She never bought their act in the slightest. Rather, it's starting to get amusing because of how similar these two are to the Bai house from the other world. They're both pretentious and likes to act before the public. If you're all done acting, then give me back my mother's stuff. I'm going to give you to the count of 3, so don't waste my time. Yenner. When Shan's already wrinkled forehead had turned into a deep furrow. He never expected his good and obedient daughter to turn out so rebellious. 1. Bai Yan announces without any readable emotion. What are you doing, Yenner? 2. 3. Bai Yan wasted no time to move at the last count. In a flash, she bolts into the manor like a lightning bolt, causing a gush of air in her wake and sending the cowardly man stumbling backwards. Punishment for a thief. 1. You? What are you doing? Chai Moon flew into a great fright as she saw the girl charging towards herself. In the momentary lapse of panic, the woman backpedals against the nearest wall without a second thought. Bai Yan's aura was simply too strong and oppressive, similar to Deedsong's, hence the reason why this mortal human would react so strongly. It's downright suffocating for those unprepared. Speak. Where's my stuff? Stammering in the lip, the pretentious lady nervously answers without any forethought. In my room's cupboard. That's all Bai Yen needed to hear. In a flash, she disappears from view and onto the second floor of the manor. This sort of speed amazed Chai Moon and her husband. For one thing, it showed how powerful the lady has become, and secondly, how did she know where the room was? Before long, Bai Yen returns to the main entrance with a box in hand. Sister Bai Yen, Bai Yi grew elated at the sight of the familiar object. Did you find everything? Despite what she's holding, Bai Yen did seem all that happy based on how quiet she remained. Indeed, the box in her hand was the very same box she gave Yi before leaving, but the weight didn't add up. It's much lighter than she remembered. When Shan saw what's going on, of course, he could tell the box was exactly the stuff left behind by his deceased wife. But what could he say? After all, the inheritance does belong to Bai Yen, which was the excuse he used to forcefully take it off Yi's hand. Yenner, Papa here know you're angry, but I want to remind you only me and Chai Moon is your family. No matter what, Bai Yi is only an outsider. If you put too much faith in her, then you're bound to pay the price later. Those words came down like a waterfall across Yi's heart. It dampened her elated heart and even hurt it, which could be noticed by how her hands had grasped onto those sleeves in a pained manner. He's not wrong. I'm just an outsider, like he says. An outsider adopted by Shifu while no one else wanted me. My family, when did you get to dictate who my loved ones are? Bai Yen didn't want to play along anymore and openly sneered in contempt at her former father. On this earth, there is only one family I have, and that is Yi here. Forget this Chai Moon, I don't even consider you related to me. None of you are important to me. Unbeknownst to the group here, there's something else she didn't say outwardly. It's true in her previous life when Shan was her biological father. There's no question about that. However, she's no longer of this world anymore. She died several years ago already. That means the only blood-related relative she had left in this world was the ones from the other side, and Bai Yi, whom she considered her own sister due to the bond they shared. When Shan was finally outraged by Bai Yan's attitude to the point he stopped calling her daughter, there's fire burning in those eyes now. It's been 10 years. Even if have any grievances, it should be extinguished by now. I know what you are thinking, but if I had gone out that day to save your mother, then the one clan might have been destroyed as well. It's not like you don't know who was backing the other two clans. Bai Yen didn't answer, only darkening in her expression as she went through the contents of the box. Regardless of how big of a backing those two clans had, they will be destroyed now that I'm back. But before then, I will drag out the force behind them and crush that power first. I will make sure they all pay dearly for what they've done. My mother left me a set of jewelries. There's a piece missing. The emerald jade is supposed to be worth millions and a dowry for when I marry. Of course, these are all material things, so I can settle it at a later date. Upon saying this, after ignoring the cowardly man's gaze, Bai Yen instead turns to Chai Moon, who appeared visibly guilty. I want to know what happened to the Dan pills I left behind? Where is the pills I left for Yi? Punishment for a thief. 2. What are you talking about? Chai Moon's body shuddered at the accusation. She's very much afraid and tries to hide it with that forced smile. I really don't understand what you mean. What pill? I don't know. Not buying it at all, Bai Yen snickers a laugh in retort. Those Dan pills were refined by me, so don't try to play me. I originally wanted to give it to my grandfather as a surprise birthday gift back then, but that didn't happen because of what transpired with the Bai clan. I worried for Yi's well-being, so I left it all to her after I left. Alchemic Dan pills are good stuff all around, but if one's too greedy and consumes too much at once, then the effects would undoubtedly come back to bite one in the ass by making them have an unstable foundation. This important bit was obviously related to Bai Yi prior to Bai Yan's departure back then. Therefore, she's not worried about her foster sister consuming all the pills at once. Furthermore, she could clearly tell how unstable when Fei Fei's strength was in her earlier attack, thus reaffirming her suspicion. Brother Shan. Chai Moon didn't confront the girl, and instead turns to her own husband for help using that tearful face. I only wanted to do what's right as Yenner's stepmother by keeping her things safe. I didn't think I would be taken as a thief. The woman's act was truly award-winning. As she cried to play her role, Chai Moon actually evolved into a sad sobbing laugh like someone that's spelling their emotions from the heart. If I really wanted to connive after riches, then I would have taken your money back then. Why did I not take a cent? I would rather raise Fei Fei on my own than to take others' money. You have to believe me, Brother Sean. I've been with you for so long. How could I have kept something so valuable hidden from your eyes? I know Yenner blames me for being with you. I know it, and I'm willing to leave if she wishes of me. But I can't accept being called a thief after trying so hard to do the right thing. After spouting all that, Chai Moon immediately began to head towards the doorway to leave with her daughter in tow. Her pace was firm and unquestionable based on how decisive they were. As a result of this picture, when Sean the coward promptly got all guilt in the face for being so indecisive. Wait, Mooner. The ones who need to go isn't you or our daughter. Cold in his voice, the man speaks with a stern voice like he's made up his mind. Halting in her steps right after the sentence, Chai Moon swings around like a hopeful woman waiting for her man to whisk herself off the ground like a princess being taken by a prince. Yenner. When Sean puts on a disappointed face at his own daughter. I don't know why you are so adamant about accepting them, but I must tell you your stepmother is not what you think. Back in the beginning after I made the mistake, I immediately wanted to make it up to her by offering $2 million as compensation. Yet do you know, she refused the money? What's more, how could I not be aware of your ability in alchemy back then? I would have surely known if that's the case, but I didn't. Even if you want to frame her, you should at the very least find a better excuse. I'm very disappointed in you. Those words were coming straight from the man's heart. He's honestly unable to comprehend why Bai Yen would turn out so vicious in his view compared to the lovely and well-behaved daughter from his memory. Who exactly taught her into this after 10 years away from home? Bai Yen coldly glared back at this coward. You better keep your mouth shut in front of me, or else. I don't mind removing you. This time she's not kidding. She really would remove him from the picture if he doesn't close that mouth of his. However, the threat only made Wen Shan even more furious. Wen Yen, I'm your father. How dare you talk to me like that? Punishment for a thief 3. First, my name is Bai Yen. Secondly, in my mind, my father is already dead and you are just strangers to me. If you bother me again, then I really don't mind removing someone like you from my view. Yeah. Shut up. This time Wen Shan really shuts up for no other reason aside from the immense killing intent coming off of the other girl. He's not mistaken. If he does spout another word, Bai Yen would kill him on the spot without another thought. Her strength, has it grown so strong that it made me terrified of her? Wen Shan shuddered at the thought and stumbles back a few steps in retreat. When it came to his own life, there's nothing more important. What's more, this lady in front of himself was no longer that delicate young daughter of his anymore from 10 years ago. She's a stone-cold killer that's going to slay anyone that gets in her way. When Fei Fei did not notice the strange atmosphere here though between her own father and stepsister, she's too dense and elated to care. She actually said, she wants to kill Papa? Is this Bai Yen stupid? How could she have said something like that? It's the same as cutting off any ties and right to inherit the wealth of this family. From now on there will only be me here who is the miss of the house. However, right as the attention got shifted to herself from her stepsister for unknown reasons, when Fei Fei promptly retracted that eager joy in those eyes to make a face of anger in retaliation. Bai Yen, you are too outrageous and rebellious. He is your papa, yet you're saying you will kill him? A daughter should be filial and piety. Listen to every word from their parents. How can you be so unruly? Her tone seems to be looking out for Wen Shan, but it's also a message directed at the coward who didn't speak up. It's to say only she deserves to be the miss of this family. Bai Yen could care less about what the other side thought. Instead, she shifts her tone into a mild voice while speaking. Tell me, who is the one that crippled your strength? The foster sister bites that lip in grievance. It's when Fei Fei, she broke my dantian core, so I can no longer practice? Breaking a dantian as a mean of punishing thieves? I'm rather of agreement for such means in punishing a thief. That said, Bai Yen now locks onto Wen Fei Fei like a hawk seeing its prey. Then what should I do to punish you since you stole my things? You're spouting nonsense. I didn't steal it. When Fei Fei sounded angry, but it's only a ruse to hide what she really thought. As long as I refuse to admit it, then what else can she do? Not like there's any evidence to point to me, right? Bai Yan sneered at that. Did he not tell you that one can't overtake the Dan pills in a short period? Your foundation is weak and unstable, sometimes to the point where you can't even train anymore. That's all because of your misuse of those pills. When Fei Fei's complexion instantly got deathly pale at the news, she had a look of horror and panic plastered all over that face. How did she know? Fei Fei. Chai Moon cries out, afraid her daughter would expose themselves. She is trying to scare you. Don't you know your own physical condition? Coming back to her senses at the reminder, the pale-faced girl clenches her teeth and pushes through. When did my foundation get unstable? I'm very good, so don't try to bluff me. I don't have any of those Dan pills. After saying this, when Fei Fei then turns to her own father for help using those red teary eyes. Papa. She hates me. I know it. If she wants me to go, then I can leave, but I refuse to be framed as a thief when I never stole anything. Bang! Bai Yan could care less what her stepsister was trying to pull here. Without another thought or delay, she directly throws a kick against the girl's chest and sends her shooting out once again to the ground. I will have you spill those Dan pills back out sooner or later, it's just a matter of time. However, the debt with Yi's injury is still unresolved. Smirking in a sinister fashion, her expression was frightening and dark as she leaned downwards like an evil demigod. You can quit hoping for Wuxia to save you as well. I said it already, if he gets in my way, then I won't mind removing him from the picture entirely. The young lord's child won. Wuxia just stared at Bai Yan in amazement. It's only now does it occur to him how foolish he's been up until this point. What gentle and kind daughter returning to his side. That's all in the past and would never return after all the trauma he put her through. No! Chai Moon throws herself in between with her arms spread. Fei Fei is innocent. She's only doing this for your sake. But that's all this woman could get through. Before she realizes it, a hand had already reached over and grabbed her by the throat into a choking hold, nearly suffocating the lady in the process. There's no other way to describe this aside from Bai Yan being very irritated by the fakeness portrayed by this lady. Without any hesitation, she slams her down onto the ground as well and onto Fei Fei's body to make a ball of them both. Leaning down again to her stepsister, but even closer so that others couldn't hear what she's saying aside from the recipient. I'm always of the opinion one should always receive the proper punishment, but I don't believe abolishing one's strength is the right course of action in this case. Despite those words, Fei Fei's heart only grew more tense and thumped even harder. No, I think it's better to make you abolish your own strength using your own hands. That way you will know what despair means. This sentence hits the girl like a thunderclap, thus sending Fei Fei's eardrum into a ringing pain of horror. No matter how she imagines it, the lass here simply couldn't fathom what possible punishment could warrant someone into ruining their own life. But in reality, she didn't need to imagine. The answer was right around the corner, as Bai Yan forcibly stuffed a round beady pill into her mouth. Yo, you, what did you feed me? She stammers this with fear hovering in those eyes. Don't worry, it's not poison if you're thinking that. In fact, it will help enhance your strength and help you grow faster. Upon hearing this, Fei Fei's eyes grew even more shocked. How can it be? Why would this woman be so kind? It's just that Bai Yan's next words completely crushed her soul from the high point. But this medicine will make your body feel immeasurable pain at the early afternoon. Oh right, have you heard of the painful torture of being grinded by a wheel in hell? I bet the sensation would be similar to that. Grinning even harder now, Bai Yan's face appeared no different from a devil right now to her stepsister. Also, the stronger you become, the more intense the effects will have on your suffering. Unless you destroy your own dantian, the effects will never dissipate. Oh, by the way, there's no cure for this medicine. A chilling shudder filled Fei Fei's heart then. What did I do to deserve this from her? Why is she doing this to me? All I did was cripple Bai Yi's strength. Why is she reacting so strongly for an outsider? I'm her real stepsister. You can choose to tell Shan about it too, but I can tell you he won't do a damn thing to help you. In addition, if the Wen clan learns of your predicament, what do you think they will do to you, someone that is no longer of use to them? Probably abandon you, am I right? When Fei Fei couldn't deny her stepsister's prediction. Unlike those happy families out there, the Wen clan places a very strong emphasis on the talented. For those who couldn't perform, they're promptly shoved to the curb, which was exactly what occurred prior to her using those Dan pills they took from Bai Yi. The young lord's child, too. I won't believe you. After a long period of silence, when Fei Fei's only response was to shout this aloud. Bai Yan expected such a reply though, so she didn't mind. Still grinning in a sinister fashion. You can go ahead and try later, there's no need for me to persuade you. See? The pain at the stroke of noon will prove whether or not I'm lying. After saying that last bit, Bai Yan was done here and slowly headed for the exit. What did you feed my Fei Fei? Chai Moon saw how the woman's about to leave, so she hurried to cry out for an answer. She didn't hear the conversation due to how quiet it was, but she did see the black beady pill that was forced into her own daughter's mouth, swinging her head to one side to show that sarcastic grin. I fed her what she needed to eat. If you want the details, then you can ask her yourself. Lastly, I'm going to be sticking around for the next few days, so don't come bother me. I won't be so kind like today if they disturb me. We're leaving. As for the remaining debt owed to her by Chai Moon and her daughter, Bai Yan had every intention to take it all back and more, but that would come later after she's done with her other business. Oh! Coming back to her senses, Bai Yi quickly gave chase from behind. 10 years, it took 10 years for her older sister to return. There's no way the lass would fall behind again. Through all of this, the humiliation and punishment for his family, Wen Shan never uttered a single word in protest. He's too much of a coward, especially before the woman's incredible level of killing intent. Therefore, the man kept to himself there like he's invisible. It's a sad reality for those involved, but compared to his own life, there's nothing more important for this Wen Shan. Chai Moon also knew this, of course. Otherwise, why else would she not try to force the man to take her back then? However, experiencing the cruel reality of her husband being a coward still hurts. Any woman would be disappointed, she being no exception. What am I thinking? I always knew Wen Shan's character. He only cares about his own well-being and no one else. Outside the manor, the woman in front abruptly came to a halt and causes the one from the rear to bump into her back like a deer that's lost its way. Sister Bai Yan, what's wrong? Turning around, Bai Yan softens up in her voice to say something that she's been holding back. I have something I need to tell you. What is it? Didn't understand, so she got a confused look all over that face. I won't be able to stay here for long, and when I'm done, I will probably need to leave. Still not getting it? Bai Yi simply smiled to say the obvious thing. That's okay. I will go with you. I have no relative here. I only have you. In the past, her life only had Bai Yu and Bai Yan as her family. With the former passing away, there's only this older sister of hers left. I'm sorry, that place. I fear you might not be able to go. To be clear, Bai Yan specifically used the word might, because even she doesn't know if it's possible bring her foster sister along. It's not like she doesn't want to, she honestly do, but unlike coming back to Earth with the help of the amulet in her possession, there's no tried and true method of bring someone of this world over to the next. The smile on Yi's face disappeared, replaced promptly by the look of disappointment and sadness. Sister Bai Yan, are you going to leave me behind again? I'm very good. I can do anything, like laundry, cooking, and cleaning. The young lord's child, 3. Listen to me. Bai Yan grasps onto her foster sister's shoulder, so she would listen. The place I need to go is in another world. It's where I've been all this time. And that place, it's not somewhere one can just travel to at a whim. It's not that she wants to leave the girl behind. It's that she doesn't know if she's able to take her along. What point would there be in giving false hope? That would only cause more damage and hurt later on. Only then does Bai Yi's happy gaze let up, her lips pursing into a thin line. Then Sister Bai Yan, do you have other relatives over on that side? Bai Yen slowly nods to answer, yes, a lot over there. That's a relief then. Are they good to you? Though still sad in the face, Bai Yi continues to ask. They all love me. A nod comes again. That's good. I'm relieved then. As if trying to keep herself from crying, Bai Yi puts on the most difficult smile of her life. I was always worried that you would be alone without me. Back when we were young, you didn't know how to care for yourself at all. There were attendants to help back when we were living with Shifu, but afterwards it was I who did everything afterwards, like fixing the bed, cooking, cleaning and stuff. Now that I know someone else can look after you, I'm relieved. Bai Yen immediately got all sweaty in the forehead after having all her flaws pointed out. True, her foster sister was smaller than herself, but she's heck a lot more mature in more than one way. I of course want to take you with me if possible. Hurrying to change the subject, the conversation was leading into a hole that she didn't want to head down into. You know, I have a friend over on that side that's the polar opposite of your personality. You know how to do everything. She, on the other hand, doesn't know how to do anything, constantly making trouble in her wake. A real troublemaker. When mentioning Chui again of the Holy Land, the lady's lip would inexplicably form a smile like some happy memories would return. I wonder if that lass is doing well? I haven't seen her for a long while now. But her name is the same as yours though. She's Chu and you're Bai Yi. Only a difference in your surname. If I can't take you with me to the other side, then I will make sure you have a good life on Earth. I won't let the same mistake happen again after I leave. This opportunity to return was a good chance to set things right. Not only does Bai Yen intend to find the missing item she needs, she's also going to rid Yi of all her enemies. Bai Yi could see her older sister's happy expression. As a result of this, a sense of sorrow hit her poor heart in a way that it throbbed. If only I could go there together with her. Sister Bai Yen, it's then does the lass remember something important? Is it wise to have a fallout with Winshan? What's wrong with that? Bai Yen sneered in contempt at the mentioned name. You're my people, he's not. You're my people, he's not. This sentence instantly brought a ray of sunshine to the depressed girl's mood. Looking up with hope in those eyes, she murmurs the only thing that she could. Sister Bai Yen said I am her people. It feels so nice to be recognized. Feeling much better now, Bai Yi's next thought wasn't about the future anymore, but about something more pressing at the moment. Sister Bai Yen, where are we going to stay now? Stay in a hotel, of course. A hotel? But those are expensive. Counting her finger, the young lass immediately started to go over her earnings from handing out those flyers. As for the wealth retrieved today, that's not in her consideration. It's not like Bai Yi was homeless or anything. She also has a place to stay. However, there's no way she would let her older sister stay in that basement unit she rented. That's not even within the equation. It's all right, don't worry about. Reaching over to grab the other girl's hand, Bai Yen makes a reassuring smile, so her foster sister wouldn't fret. I got a lot of money on me, so don't mind the expenses. The young lord's child, she extorted so much money from Ling Lang. It's only natural that she spends it. Not like Bai Yen could take it back to the other side and use it, right? The manors of the 4 clans are all within one area. Therefore the news of Bai Yan's return had also spread at a whirlwind speed. Ignoring the Lin clan who came after the demise of the Bai clan, both the Tian clan and Fu clan would undoubtedly be startled by the news. This was especially true when word spread of Winshan being walked all over by his own daughter. It's a well-known fact on how much of a coward this bastard was. After all, he didn't lift a finger after his wife got murdered by them. This meant that unless Bai Yan's strength had surpassed her old man, what transpired wouldn't be possible. This girl's been missing for 10 years, and now she's back. And for 10 years, we haven't heard from her at all. Tian Wind of the Tian clan frowns as he spoke, his finger drumming the table as he contemplated the issue. Sitting in front of him was another individual, a middle-aged beauty with a body worthy of being called a model. As she carefully poured a cup of tea for the man across from herself, her soft, smiling face showed she didn't seem worried. It's nothing to be worried about just because her strength is higher than Winshan's. There's still the current head of the one clan taking charge. Besides, even if the one clan fears her, our Tian clan isn't. However, squinting her eyes, the beauty curves those lips into a snarling sneer. Nipping the flower in the bud is the smarter option. Her talent is not bad, so we can't let her continue to grow. Bai Yu's apprentice is already a cripple, so that's not a threat. As for Ling Kaiyuan's daughter-in-law, Bai Yan's aunt, it's nothing to fret either. That old general may be a founding member of the nation, but he's not going to mobilize the military just for one clan. That's unreasonable and unrealistic. Others in the government will definitely stop him before then. There's actually good reasoning behind this lady's logic. Unlike in the other world where one's personal power reigns supreme, on Earth it's about a country's strength. What does it matter if a family clan had a lot of influence and abilities? A few missile rockets and a nuke would do the trick right then and there. They're martial arts cultivators, not celestial or demonic cultivators like Bai Yan has become. There's a big difference between a mortal and an immortal. You snowing. Tian Wind warmly reaches out to take hold of the woman's hand. Your older brother, doesn't he have that person's trust? Do you think we can find a way to get our daughter closer to the young lord? Snowing's expression promptly changed for the worse at the mention. I don't know. Since a few years ago where the young lord fell ill, he's had a major change in temperament. Besides, I've heard the young lord now has a child he made with an unknown woman from the outside. The idea won't turn out well. The 4 family clans are all subservient to the Water Clan, all for the one very single reason. There's a special existence inside that house. Unlike the other inferior clans that could come and go with time, the Water Clan has been around for hundreds of years, each generation producing countless talents in its wake. However, that's not enough to secure their position as the head. Rather, it's because there's a sacred beast under their control. The creature's able to control the water, thus making them the de facto ruler of the martial world. Imagine having a tsunami hit you from out of the blue, or a raging hurricane that wouldn't recede. No normal person could withstand such a might. Water Clan's young lord 1. Snowing, what's the big deal about a man having a few lovers outside? Which successful man doesn't have a few with them? Moreover, the young lord is not married and only has a son. That means the child's birth mother isn't fit to take center stage. The woman couldn't refute the idea tempted her swaying heart as well. Speaking in a hesitant tone, let's ask our daughter's opinion first. She hasn't even married yet and is now going to be someone's stepmother. I just find the idea difficult to accept. No matter how much she liked the thought of being the mother-in-law of the most powerful man in the Water Clan, she's still a mother. As a mother, she undoubtedly wants the best for her own daughter. Tian Wind didn't say it aloud, but his thoughts weren't the same as his own wife who showed what she was thinking along the face. Snowing is thinking too much. Being the wife of the young lord? That's not possible. Perhaps a lover for him is more likely. After their conversation, Snowing soon left the tea room and arrived at her own daughter Tian Fragrance's room. Her hand hesitated when attempting to make a knock, but the hesitation couldn't hold out against the temptation still. A moment later, the door swung open and out came a girl with dreary eyes wearing a cartoon t-shirt. Mom, do you need something? Why are you coming so late? For this only daughter of hers, Snowing's attitude only had warmth and kindness. Fragrance, I came because I have something I want to discuss with you. Let me inside first. Doing as told, Fragrance moves to one side to let Snowing in but kept her confused look up the entire way. Mom, what is so urgent that you can't wait till morning? Sit down first. Patting the chair so her daughter would sit with her. You know your uncle is the steward of the Water Clan, don't you? What if I say me and your papa can help you get close to the young lord? When speaking up to this part, Snowing's voice grew hesitant and paused for a breather because she knew her daughter's temperament the best. Regarding something like arranged marriages, there's no way this daughter would be willing and happy. What? Fragrance's voice nearly shrieked at the suggestion, jumping up and stomping her feet in protest. You want me to marry that sick mule from the Water Clan? Going white in the face after her daughter's outburst, Snowing immediately jumped up to cusp the careless girl's mouth so she would stop talking. Don't speak like that. You know how our Tian clan is heavily relying on the Water clan. If anyone hears of what you said, then not even your uncle can save us. I'm not making up stuff. Everyone knows how sick that person is. After he fell into a coma 8 years ago, the guy had a huge change in his temperament and would lash out at everyone. And it's not like you don't know either, Mom. No one has seen him step out of the Water clan's estate. Why would you want me to marry someone that's terminally ill? I don't want to be a widow right away. Unlike her parents, Tian Fragrance wants to pursue happiness in her life like any young lady of her age. Marrying a sickly boy that's perhaps at the death's gate. Who would want to? Sweetie, Snowing sighs at the answer. We aren't certain on the young lord's condition. That's only a rumor. How about you make the decision after meeting the young man first? Truth was, despite her older brother being the steward of the Water clan, no one really knows the real health of the young lord mentioned here. Sure, the members of that family may know, but none would be stupid enough to spread it out into the public, especially after the supposed temperamental change after coming out of the coma. Water clan's young lord, too. I don't want to see him, Mom. I don't want to see him. After shouting this out, Tian Fragrance's eyes immediately flickered with an idea. Hooking her arm around the other ladies, she forces her inner anger down to play her game. I know so many young talented men in the city. Why should I go with a sick mule that's about to kick the bucket? What if he decides to force me and not let go after being captivated by me? Just having the thought of being forced into bed with someone she doesn't like would gross the lass out, which showed along her young face. Mom, you know my personality better than anyone. If that young lord from the Water clan tries to force me, then I would rather die with him than submit. In that case, what do you think will happen to our family when the Water clan comes down with their fury? See? It won't turn out well, not well at all. Moreover, as the young miss of the Tian clan, what men she couldn't get. She's got all those wealthy and talented men of this city's upper society swirling around her finger. Why should she lower herself to being a sick mule's wife? It's not like the Water clan only has that sick mule in its younger generation. If I'm going to marry into that clan, then I'm going to take a healthy and powerful one. Afterwards, I can pull some strings and then push my future husband into the lead position. I bet that sick mule won't live long anyways. Snowing's lips stammered for proper wording there. She couldn't find a good excuse to persuade her daughter because what the lass said was all true and reasonable. Fine, sweetie. I was only asking and not forcing you. If you aren't willing, then we can put the idea behind us. I'm sure you will find an outstanding husband in the future on your own. After saying this, the lady of the house got up and walked out of the room to deal with her own husband. The Water clan's main estate. Currently, 2 individuals, one small and one big, were staring off against each other. Eventually, it was the older one who caved in and took the lead to turn away. You've been staring at me for 2 days. Have you seen enough yet? The older man speaks, his voice getting a little bothered. Batty father, will mother be able to recognize you now that you've become like this? The steam bun across from him says, his eyes still staring wildly in amazement. Twitching in the mouth at being called out, the older man shoots a deadening glare at his own son. What do you know? I believe in her. She will recognize me at a glance no matter what. Their feelings have long passed the physical level and into the soul stage. It's unmatched. But Batty father, why did me and mother can come directly into this place while you have to use another person's body? I'm so confused. Scratching the back of his head, the steam bun wrinkles his nose like a confused child. That's right. The older man across from Bai Shachin was none other than Ditsong. The only issue was that it's his soul and not the body. If anything, the only evidence proving it's the great demon king would be that arrogant aura. It's unmistakable. That's because I didn't have all heaven to send me over here like you did. I had to ask state teacher to help me transfer my soul over to this dead body we found. Also, I came here 8 years earlier. 8 years ago, the Water clan's young lord didn't fall seriously ill. Rather, he did kick the bucket and died. Water clan's young lord 3. That's right. He's been here for 8 years already. Due to the differing time frame of both worlds, Ditsong purposely arrived earlier than his family so that he could locate Bai Yen ahead of time. But 8 years, how could he not go see her? Therefore, for the past 8 years he's been telling the world that he's sick, while in reality he's been running off to stalk his oblivious wife in secret. Sadly, at the time Bai Yen still hasn't arrived at the other world yet. That meant he couldn't face the old her from Earth. Knowing how much his wife cared for the family members on that side, this poor demon king could only live a life of a monk devoid of impulses. Imagine watching the love of his life bearing all those dangerous adventurers. Imagine watching the lady go through all those trials on her own. And most importantly, imagine watching his wife go naked to bath in the local lake. Now that's just pure torture. Extremely painful and torturous for any man. Nevertheless, he's put up with it. 8 years of it in total. That was until after Bai Yen got struck down by the lightning bolt like fate intended. No one knows how much he wanted to rush over to save her that day. But Ditsong also understood his wife would never forgive him if he did otherwise. History would change, the future of their children would change. There wouldn't be Bai Shachen, nor Di Ling Yen and Di Jin Tian. None of their children would exist for that blunder. So, he stopped at the last second when his feet tried to move. For 3 days this man did not move from that spot. He buried her, of course, but he couldn't leave right away. Ditsong was bleeding inside. Sure, his wife suffered as well for the death she went through, but his heart bled just as much in the spiritual sense. In the end, it took all his willpower just to budge from the mountain. What came afterwards could be summed up like most would expect. He returned to the Water Clan and began preparations for the return of his wife. Although he doesn't know when exactly, but that didn't hinder his will to welcome his woman's return. Thankfully, the poor guy didn't need to wait long either when he came across his son Bai Shachen by pure coincidence. Batty father, fortunately you didn't stop mother from leaving at the end. The steam bun happily stuffs a grape into his mouth, his eyes revealing delight at the sweetness. There's no warmth in this world for mother, but the other side is not the same. She got family there. If she had come to learn you took that from her in the future, then she will undoubtedly be very angry at you. The man could only shake his head helplessly due to his son's uncharacteristic mature speech. Shachen, we will go find your mother in 2 days. 8 years of patience have finally come to an end. When he gets his grubby hands on her, he would make sure to have his way of embracing that woman to his heart's content. And if possible, spend several nights of love making to satiate his near-bursting hormones. Why 2 days later? Batty father, don't you want to see mother? Why wait? Bai Shachen asks again with a look of bafflement. If it was me, I would go right now. I don't even know how Batty father could endure for 8 straight years. If it was me, I would be crying in pain already. I've received word from state teacher earlier. That's why I need 2 days to accomplish the task. 2 days is enough, then I'll take you to your mother. He really wants to see his wife, but in order to return to the demon realm as soon as possible, Ditsong must finish another thing beforehand. He's waited 8 years already. Another 2 days won't delay much. I don't want to. Bai Shachen puckers his lips into a displeased shape. I want to see mother. I'm going to find her first on my own. Those bad women all envy her. They will definitely try to pick on her. Water Clan's young lord, 4. Ditsong doesn't believe his wife would be picked on by others considering her personality. However, that doesn't mean he's going to tolerate such an act against his own woman either. You're not familiar with this place yet, nor are you capable of finding your mother on your own. Let's do this. I'll order someone take you to her if you want to go ahead. It's not like the Demon King did nothing during the past 8 years that he's been here. Regarding Bai Yan's identity and history, he's learned it all and knew how wronged she's been at the hands of those people who ruined her family and killed her mother's side of the family. In addition, Ditsong's gaze grew solemn and heavy. You must get a better understanding of your mother's situation. I will give you the information I gathered beforehand. Whether or not you can help your mother get revenge is up to you. I don't want my wife dirtying her hands with their filthy blood. Bai Shachen immediately jumps up in glee, his small face glowing with excitement. Papa, you mean I can go find mother ahead of you? Ditsong crooked smiles to affirm the question due to not being addressed with that silly nickname from his son. Your mother is probably looking for you as well, so you go ahead. I can't be at ease unless someone is with her. He knows how much hate Bai Yen has for Shan. Even until the day where she died under that lightning strike, she remains firmly under the idea of wanting to make the man regret the act of abandoning Bai Yu. Therefore, Di Tsong doesn't want anything to happen while he's not with her. Now here's where Bai Shachen comes into play. He may not be able to go right away, but this rascal could, and it's someone he trusts. That's awesome. Bai Shachen jumps up and down like a baby again. The doggy I met before is quite good. Why don't you have him take me to mother? Di Tsong, are you sure you want a dog to take you on a plane? He's not a demon beast. Di Tsong eventually throws this out after a long moment of awkward silence. If the dog can take human form, then it's one thing, but he's a dog, a genuine dog, and no more. That cat can do it too. I think that fat orange cat is quite nice, have him take me. This rascal, can he be a bit more normal? Besides, what does being fat have to do with helping you find someone? Di Tsong thought, unable to comprehend why his boy would suggest a dog and a cat in this case. I'll find someone to take you. During this trip you must behave. If I find out you aren't and is acting up, I will have them take you back without a second thought. The stern voice of the Demon King meant he's serious and would really do that if the boy made trouble like he always did in the other world. Despite the pouting face, Bai Shachen did not talk back. A rare occasion for this parent and son relationship. So be it, a human it is. Although I still think this water clan only has that doggy and fat cat as the cutest. As for the others, thinking of those people, Bai Shachen's eyes would darken into a displeased shape. Batty father, you've been here for 8 years. Why didn't you form your own power? I don't like the people here in this water clan. He did it back when he was searching for mother the first time around. Why didn't he do it again in this other world? Di Tsong. These 8 years, this persistent Demon King has been busy following his wife around. Where would he find the time to go organize a new power on Earth? In light of that, though, he did take in some stray animals like that dog and fat cat. They're not demons or demonic creatures, but they're still animals and instinctively attracted to the man. Shachen, do you think I would need some kind of power in this place? Di Tsong says it proudly and arrogantly like the very idea was a joke. If someone does dare to challenge me, I will have Black Turtle go deal with them. Those people are not qualified for him to personally maneuver against them. My son won't suffer any grievances, one. Sure enough, Bai Shachen became stumped for words at that sort of an answer. True, considering his old man's status and power, why should he deal with those people from the Water Clan? Simply having Black Turtle order them would be more than sufficient. Papa, how did Black Turtle know about you coming here anyways? Also, how did he know you needed a body to use and arranged the Water Clan's young lord for you from the beginning? Biting his fingernail, the boy questioningly asks with a look of confusion. Donning a dazzling smirk, Di Tsong's reply left his son astounded. I don't know. I don't know? Only a fool would believe that. Huffing and puffing, Bai Shachen didn't buy a single word of it. As curious as he was right now, the boy knew he won't get an answer from his old man. If anything, he could always turn to state teacher for an answer. After all, that guy always seemed to have the answer to everything. Why are you being so nosy for? Didn't you want to go find your mother? Giving his son's head a rub to shoo him along. Then you can go now. Remember, if someone disrespects you, then put them in their place. My son will suffer under no one. Giggling with laughter, the steam bun didn't need his old man to tell him that. Papa, as if you need to tell me that. I have never been one to swallow any grievances. From the time he's been born, to the current day, this rascal has never eaten any grievances, not even once. Then go, I'll have things arranged for you. After saying that, Di Tsong's gaze inexplicably shifted to the exit and into the far-off unknown. It's as if he's looking at others that's not within his view yet within his senses. If these people in the Water Clan obey and listen, then I can let them be, but if they get restless and try anything, I won't mind letting them fall from their current heights once and for all. Goodbye then, batty father. Waving his hand, the rascal didn't hesitate and quickly ran for the door. His demeanor told everyone that he couldn't wait to leave this place. Meanwhile, in the back, Deetsong's face had gone all black again. This brat, does he hate spending time with his own father that much? And why is he using that nickname again? Unaware of the woes plaguing his old man, Bai Xiachen only had the happy thought of reuniting with Bai Yan in his mind. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean his absent-mindedness meant his senses for the surroundings were hindered in any way, because he's quickly able to dodge to one side when a hand tried to push him after leaving the courtyard. The perpetrator of the act belonged to a child of about 10 years old. Considering the number of lackeys following this kid, it's obvious he's someone of important status in this water clan. Even so, that doesn't the steam bun would take this hostility lying down, which manifested into him pinching the other kid's wrist until a crunching sound could be heard due to the pressure. Ah! The kid wept like a screeching banshee due to the pain, causing the lackeys behind him to freak out as well. Sadly for them though, right as they tried to move forward to help, Bai Xiachen's threatening glare stopped them in their tracks. Lin Lin! Suddenly, an urgent call came from further ahead. Turning to look for the source, Bai Xiachen could see a beautiful woman running over in haste. Let go of my Lin Lin now, the lady orders, her eyes bordering on the line of tears due to the pained expression of her son. Smirking at the demand, the steam bun starts going back to his old way of acting innocent. Why should I let him go when he tried to push me? Is this how members of the Water Clan act? Such unruliness? My son won't suffer any grievances. To you? The beauty angrily points her finger at Bai Xiachen in an accusatory manner. However, her rage promptly subsided a notch after remembering who she's dealing with. Xiachen, this is your cousin. He did not mean it, so can you let him go? Tilting his head at the plea like he's in contemplation over the idea. Bai Xiachen didn't let go though, and instead bared his white teeth like a predator facing its prey. No. Mom. Help me. Hurry and help me. Water Lin Lin continues to cry out in pain as his wrist grew more purple over the pressure. This wild bastard came from some unknown woman. How dare he come to the Water Clan to leech off of us? Hit him for me. Hurry and hit him for me. That's right, the main reason this brat going by the name of Water Lin Lin tried to push Bai Xiachen was because he's upset and jealous of the attention being shifted away from himself. Coupling in with the negative feedbacks from his own parents in secret, plus the reminder from his own grandparents to be at heed with this new cousin, the boy's heart grew twisted and irate. That's why he came today. It's to deliberately stomp on Bai Xiachen to flaunt his status. Well, that was the plan anyways. The beauty's face got very pale after her son's outburst. There's open panic in her eyes because that kind stuff could only be said in the shadows, not in open public like here before the house attendants. Make no mistake, this beautiful madam of this house may hold a high position within the Water Clan, but not even she would try to poke fun into Deetsong's business due to how famously cruel and cold the man has become after that incident from 8 years ago. Close your mouth this instant, Lin Lin. The woman snaps at her son, those teeth grinding due to the tense thumping in her heart. Xiachen, this is nothing but a little fight between children. Why are you taking things so seriously? Moreover, Lin Lin here didn't mean what he said, he really didn't. Snickering in contempt at the obvious lie, the steam bun didn't believe a single word of it. He insulted me by calling me a wild bastard. After saying that, he immediately increased the pressure on his grip some more, causing the other boy to squeal out again. So, I want him to apologize to me and to scold himself by saying he's a bastard child for 100 times. I want that done this instant, right here and now as compensation. The beauty's face got even whiter. Have my son apologize and claim to be a wild bastard, and in front of everyone here? What does that make me and my husband then, the third son of this family? Xiachen, your father and your third uncle have always been close. If he learns of what you did to Lin Lin today, then he will undoubtedly be very hurt. By then he might get too angry and throw you out of the Water Clan. It's said that the kid was brought in 2 days ago, meaning he's likely insecure inside and can be easily manipulated and intimidated. Cocking his chin after hearing his mother's threat, the naughty brat regained some of his vigor and started speaking garbage again. That's right, second uncle really likes me. He will definitely throw you out of the Water Clan and have you return to that lowly and filthy mother of yours. Bai Xiachen could still bear dealing with an annoying brat at the beginning. But when the conversation shifts into Bai Yan, then the gloves are coming off. Without a second thought, the steam bun directly kicks his foe in the tummy and sends him rolling back. Damn it! How dare he scold my mother? The beauty became stunned. She didn't expect the boy to be so insane as to hit someone in this situation. However, right as she's about to speak out again, a chilling voice that seems to choke her by the throat spoke up instead. How come I never knew I had a good relationship with Water Long Yun? How come I didn't know? Also, why would I go dote on another person's son when I have one already? My son won't suffer any grievances. 3. The man's low voice gave off a hellish vibe there, thus sending the beauty into a frozen state as she stood rigidly in attention. Second brother? Ditsong didn't bother to reply to that call, only coming forward on his own. When he saw how upset his son was though, the man promptly reached out with his hand to give the boy a rub on the head. This maneuver was something Bai Yan did often when she's around, so he wanted to copy it to help elevate the mood. Sure enough, Bai Xiachen's expression gradually let up as he felt that familiarity. Nevertheless, it won't change the fact that he's very unhappy and upset based on that pursed lip he's making. When that happens, the consequences are dire. Who's your second brother? Ditsong shifts his attention back to the beauty. This body may be the young lord of the Water Clan, but this great demon king never once acknowledged he's part of this group. When the dust settles, he would instantly give up this fleshly container and leave. Second brother, I'm Mei Mei. I'm Water Longyun's wife, your sister-in-law. The woman answers with shakiness in her voice. Frowning like he's trying to remember the name. Ditsong's next word downright hurts. No impression. Dunt. The beauty by the name of Mei Mei directly fell over backwards at the blunt reply. She couldn't even bring herself to stand up right now due to the heartache. Truly, the lady thought the other man would at least remember her name because she had actually tried to pursue him in their youth and not her current husband. Sadly, despite the effort of this woman and all her attempts at seducing the other side, the already deceased young lord of this water clan was a dunce and didn't get the hint at all. Then once the man kicked the bucket and Ditsong took over, that's when the already stale relationship devolved to the point where she couldn't even make eye contact. Xiachen. Ditsong returns his gaze back to the little fella standing beside himself. I said it. You are my son and don't have to take any insult from anyone. My son won't be wronged or insulted. Water Mei Mei couldn't believe what she's heard and promptly stared up out of reflex. What does he mean by that? Have him kneel on the ground and slap himself. He is not allowed to get back up until I am satisfied. Ditsong states this as an order, not a request. Second. Shun Mei Mei's heart shuddered at the idea. She wanted to say something more to defend her family, but against that frightening pressure, the lady instinctively swallows the pretentious words back down and pleaded instead. Please, Lord. Lin Lin is still a child. He really knows his wrong. Please spare him. You know you're wrong? Ditsong turns to the brat and asks this. The brat never feared anyone in his life before, not even his old man. However, against this second uncle of his, he felt true fear for once and trembled profusely when replying. I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong. Coldly smirking. I've said it before, Xiachen is my son. Whoever dares to bully him will not be spared. Since you people take my words as a bluff and only admit to your wrong due to my presence, then Xiachen doesn't need to accept your apology. My son won't suffer any grievances for. In other words, the bratty kid must slap himself until he's satisfied, otherwise the matter won't be put to rest. After all, not even Bai Yan would dare lay a hand on the steam bun when he made a blunder. Why should some random fool be allowed to do so? It would be on Ditsong's head if he left this issue go unpunished. Mom, I don't want to. WHHH. I don't want to slap myself. I don't want to. The bratty kid sobs continuously, regretting fully on coming today. Of course, the boy still doesn't believe he's in the wrong, just that he shouldn't have done what he did in this manner and went for another solution. Water Mei Mei was a mother, and as a mother, there's no way she wouldn't want to save her own boy. Unfortunately for her though, the second she cast her eyes upward to meet Ditsong's cold gaze again, Her courage crumbled without fault. Lin Lin, be good. Do what your second uncle tells you. Do it now. This man is too cruel, it's just a fight between kids and he's going this far. What is he going to do if I refuse right now? Will he kill me? He wouldn't, right? The order from his own mother only brought even more tears to the bratty kid, making him cry louder and louder, gritting those teeth to steel her heart at the disobedience. Lin Lin, if you don't listen then I will leave you in the beggar's den. Then you will be a beggar's child. In this instant, this very second, the bratty kid actually stopped crying, only looking up in disbelief over the very mother that's always been doting and loving to himself. Despite his own grievances, this child also knows his mother would always keep to her words when said, I'll hit. Flushing red in the eye, the boy kneels down to the ground and slaps himself in the face. Against this sight, Water Mei Mei definitely felt the stinging pain as well. She's bleeding inside over what she's ordered. Sadly, as much as she would like to put a stop to this, that threatening gaze from Deetsong left her too helpless and weak. Since you and your husband don't know how to educate your child, then I will. He will learn today on what can be said and what can't be said. In Deetsong's view, his behavior right now wasn't cruel in the slightest. In fact, he's thinking he's already being quite merciful in lecturing someone else's child. After all, he's the great demon king. Such transgressions would have long warranted the death penalty in the other world, let alone a few slaps. Second. Originally Water Mei Mei wanted to plea again after that comment, but the death glare in the next left her too fearful for words. It's a known fact that the man across from herself didn't like others addressing him as family, only as Lord in the formal title. Apparently she didn't quite remember that tidbit until this instant and kept crossing the line with Deetsong. He's only a child. You wanted to say that, didn't you? Deetsong then continues to speak in a manner like someone that's able to read minds. But he did, that means others were uttering such things around him. As his mother, you are just as guilty. You think I will let this pass so easily after you gossiped behind my back about my wife and child? This time Water Mei Mei could no longer keep her wits together. Plodding to the ground into a prostrating posture. Lo Lord, please spare me, no matter what I still bared a child for the Water clan. Say what you will, but there are prices to be paid for your loose tongue. Still expressionless and cold as ever, Deetsong's attitude never wavers when dishing out punishment. Someone come, drag this woman and Water Long Yun out of the estate. I'm declaring they are no longer part of the Water clan as of this instant. Gawking her eyes out in horror and disbelief, Water Mei Mei almost fainted in that second. She thought at the very most he would beat her or something along those lines, not directly banish them from the family. Her husband's the younger brother of this man. Why, Lord, why are you so cruel? She asks with that shaky voice. Because my wife is coming back, so I need to eliminate all the disharmonious voices of the Water clan. These slurs and gossips will pollute her ear. Boom! The woman's brain exploded into nothingness, not being able to comprehend the gravity of that statement. He said his wife is coming back. That's why he's banishing me and my husband? So our words won't contaminate her ear? How can he go to such extent for a woman? By Yi's recovery, 1. Water Mei Mei always thought she knew enough about the old Deetsong to understand him, but it's until this moment does she realize how foolish she's been. This person, this individual whom she tried to pursue for many years, he's an absolute enigma. Lord, making a bittersweet smile, the beauty slowly pulls herself up from the ground to speak in compliance. I understand now. I will go and clean up my things and leave this place. After saying that, she turned and left without struggle, giving off a frail and unsteady feeling of hopelessness. Make no mistake, it's not like Water Mei Mei didn't want to protest and complain. Contrary, she's too smart for that. If the lady had continued to linger and offend the man some more, who knows what might happen by then. Moreover, her husband was the third son of the current house chief. That means Water Long Yun would always remain a son of the Water clan. Even if they couldn't remain here for now, it's without a doubt they would return someday once the heat dies down. Retracting his gaze from the woman now that he's done, Deetsong shifts his attention to the boy next to himself. Xiaqin, Go find your mother now. She should be somewhere in the capital city of this country. I'll go call someone to guide you. Immediately lighting up from his upset little face, Bai Xiachen needed no better news than to find Bai Yan. Smiling brightly at the suggestion. Then, Batty father, when will you come find us? I'll be there as soon as I can. Slightly sinking in his eyes, Di Tsong didn't have confidence in when, so he only said soon. At that, the steam bun didn't ask for more details and instead brought up his own thoughts. Papa, you have to make these people take care of the big doggy and big orange cat. They're my only friends here in this place. Okay. Grinning at his boy's request due to being addressed properly, Di Tsong went ahead to ruffle that hair before turning to a middle-aged attendant nearby. You take him to the capital. His order is your utmost priority from here on forward, and if anything happens to him, then you can forget about returning to the Water Clan. My son doesn't need to, nor will he suffer any grievances in this world. The middle-aged attendant got white after hearing that order. Despite his own woes at the consequences, he didn't forget what happened to Water Mei mere seconds ago, and hurried to bow his head. Yes, Lord. As wrong as the bratty kid was in coming today for troublemaking, he's not entirely alone in this matter. None of these people from the Water Clan took the steam bun seriously. One being the unknown birth mother that they never met. They didn't have a clue about her background. Second being how little appearance the little boy made before the public's eye. If the young lord himself didn't show his son around, then why should they take the child seriously? Nevertheless, after today's incident and of how even the third young master has been expelled from the clan, no one here would ever have that thought again. Back over in the one clan, when Fei Fei, stepsister, was currently sitting atop of her own bed and allowing those spirit particles to infuse into her pores. She wants to verify whether or not Bai Yan was lying to her and has been hard at work. Regarding the method of cultivation on Earth and the other world, they're mostly the same by absorbing the spirit particles in the air. However, Earth only utilizes this power in their martial arts by covering their body in a thin layer like an armament, while the other world had a better understanding of this force and could manipulate it to their will by changing its form and use. Also, unlike the other world where power reigns supreme, the spirit particles on Earth could only be described as lacking. For example, those who manages to reach the monarch rank are far and in between on these lands. Like the Water Clan here, their founding ancestor still lives today and had reached the monarch rank due to the support of Black Turtle. But even the old fella could only sit at the monarch rank and not move an inch further. By Yi's recovery, too, not needing to wait for long, when Fei Fei soon felt a surge of strength rushing out from within her abdomen. With a bang, she breaks through her bottleneck in a flurry of air gushing out of her pores. If it had been in the past, then the lass would be ecstatic after making such quick progress. However, there's only shock and panic left in those eyes right now as the words of her hated stepsister returned again. Bai Yan is right. My talent for cultivation has really gone up. Then does that mean, at the strike of noon, I will suffer unbearable pain day in and day out? Donk donk donk. It's then a series of door knocks catches her attention, startling the lass and bringing her back to reality. Hurrying to compose herself so others wouldn't notice the oddity in her expression. Come in. Stepping in was none other than Shan, the lass's father. Based on the level of love showing in the man's eye, it's clear he's thrown all of the mishaps of today's event out the window. Fei Fei, did you just make a breakthrough? I felt the surge of energy in the air just now and wanted to come check. Stiffly nodding as confirmation, the girl forces the panic back down and makes a smile. Ha ha ha. When Shan didn't notice the oddity and grew elated, laughing aloud for all to hear, patting his daughter's shoulder. My Fei Fei is wonderful, you really are. I did not expect you to make a breakthrough this quickly after your last. But you did, and that brings me great joy knowing you are my daughter. Brother Shin. Chai Moon also follows closely from behind after sensing the change in the air as well. Even if my Fei Fei's talent is higher, it will still not compare to Yenner's. I speculate she's already grown to heights we can only imagine. At the mention of his unfilial older daughter, when Shan's expression promptly turned ugly because he didn't want to remember. Enough Mooner. No one is allowed to mention that unfilial girl in this house again. She even wants to kill me, his own father. That girl is no daughter of mine, and I will not recognize her as such anymore. Chai Moon appears to want to speak again after that outburst, but after moving those lips a bit and stammering some more, she said nothing in the end and left it at that. Then that's when it happened during their conversation. A ringing gong of the old clock downstairs in the living room. Immediately, when Fei Fei's complexion turned ghastly white as her body trembled profusely, sweat rolling down her forehead like she's just came out of a pool. Fei Fei! Chai Moon was the first to notice the change and cried out in haste. What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Although she had previously asked when Fei Fei on what Bai Yan fed her, but due to the fear of the consequences of others knowing, the lass in question didn't tell her own mother and kept it a secret. It hurts? Clenching her fist, the girl throws herself on the bed and began rolling around. Pa! Ma! It hurts. It really hurts. That pain could only be described as someone throwing her onto a grinding plate and then mashing her bones to powder. It's tearing her mind apart and sucking the air out of the lung. Fei Fei! Chai Moon screamed at the terrible sight and attempts to help. What's wrong? What's wrong with you? Why is this happening? Bai Yan. She fed me poison. She said that at the strike of noon I will become like this from now on. It hurts, Ma. It hurts. Please kill me. Kill me. Even until the end, she didn't want to reveal the secret to her pain. That's how much this current lifestyle meant for Wen Fei Fei. But then again, it couldn't be helped. The lass understands her own father very well. If it becomes known that only by destroying her dantian could she be relieved from such pain, then this man would definitely abandon them. Afterwards, the riches of life would be a fleeting memory, and they would return to the life of a beggar. Fei Fei? When Shan also steps forward and wanted to help his daughter up from the bed, but when he saw the twisted face his daughter made, those hands instinctively faltered and retracted away. Are you sure it was Bai Yan who did it? Bai Yi's recovery 3. Brother Shan. Chai Moon wept uncontrollably and started to beg her husband. Did you forget? Bai Yan fed Fei Fei a pill before she left. That must the poison. I've done my best to be good to her. Yet why is she doing this to my Fei Fei? That said, the woman gradually took to the ground as she continued to weep. She's a mother, and as a mother, there's no way she wouldn't feel the much pain despite her foul nature. If there's any fault, then it's my fault. Fei Fei is innocent. She couldn't have chosen her own birth. It's all because of my mistake that she has to suffer. Brother Shan, please help her. Please save our Fei Fei. That was a sound argument from Chai Moon's mouth. However, the woman apparently forgot the sort of harsh treatment when Fei Fei dished out to Bai Yi, who was also innocent in the whole story. Also, he ignored the fact that it's these two who stole Bai Yan's belonging and caused her to lash out. Otherwise, this incident wouldn't occur in the first place. Being the gullible him, when Shan didn't put too much thought into those words and simply accepted it as fact. Fei Fei is indeed innocent. She can't choose her own birth, nor is Yenner qualified to hurt her. But Yenner said it before. If I go bother her, then she'll kill me, her own father. In that second, Chai Moon's heart could only be described as cold and disappointed. In particular was how cowardly her husband was acting even when it's about saving their own daughter. It's giving her the shivers because she suddenly recalled back to how this man abandoned Baiyu, which allowed herself to take over this home. Brother Shan, pulling herself up, the woman suddenly stopped weeping and showed a bittersweet smile as she spoke. We may not be able to get Bai Yan to yield, but don't forget, in this city there's still a Bai Ran. Frowning at the name, when Shan didn't quite get what his wife was getting at, but let her continue anyways. Bai Ran married General Ling Kaiyuan's son. If the public finds out her niece did such inhumane things, then it will certainly impact the old general's name. The Ling family won't let that happen, which is why we need to force Bai Ran into helping us get that antidote. Gently closing her eyes, Chai Moon began to sob again to push her plot. Brother Shan, Ling Kaiyuan is a credit to the country, and I respect him for that, but I don't know what else to do as a frail woman. I'm a mother. Seeing my daughter suffer is unbearable for me. Besides, you don't want to lose a talented daughter, do you? He didn't feel moved at the sobbing from his wife. He didn't feel moved at the sight of his daughter's suffering. but this coward did feel moved once the topic of a talented daughter got brought up. It's true, he doesn't want to lose this daughter who had caught the eye of his old man who was the current chief of the one clan. I'll try as much as I can. If Byran is not willing, then there's no other way. After all, she's still Yuer's younger sister. Acting all submissive after getting her way, the woman deliberately lowers her face to hide that smirking grin. If that's your wish, Brother Shan, I won't object to your decision. At the same time, somewhere not too far away, Bai had just gotten herself settled inside a hotel room when her mind started wander off in recounting today's various events. It's like a dream to this girl who's been poorly treated by others so far in life. Sister Bai Yen is really back. I don't have to live in the basement anymore. Thinking up to here, Bai Yi's heart would feel all sweet and melty like being smothered in honey. The only demerit from all this would be the fact that Bai Yen said she couldn't take her along. But that's too far ahead for this girl to think about right now. Donk donk. Exactly then a knock from the door catches her attention, causing the girl to rush over to the doorway where a dazzling female stood. Sister Bai Yen, she exclaims, wowed by how beautiful Bai Yen has become after some rest and cleaning. Take this. Bai Yen didn't mind the overreaction from her foster sister and handed a pill over. Bai Yi's recovery. 4. Taken aback by the gift in her hand, Bai Yi nearly drops it before catching it after a fumble. This is Dan Pill. It will allow you to cultivate your internal dantian again. The reason why Bai Yen did not stay in the same room as her foster sister was because she's busy making this pill. Preparations must be made and she doesn't have all that much time. Boom! The sound of explosion rocked the young lass's brain, her eyes falling into a daze of incredulous disbelief. Sister Bai Yen, you don't need to comfort me. I know my dantian is already destroyed. There's no way to cultivate anymore. Others can't let you anymore, but that doesn't mean I can't. Smiling to stir her sister's mood, Bai Yen reaches over to hold those hands as reassurance. I said it already. Before I leave, I will make sure this place is safe for you to live. This pill is one of the things to help improve your strength. While I'm here for the next short while, I will oversee your entire training progress. Despite the comfort, Bai Yi still had the dull look of someone that couldn't take in reality. Can I really practice martial arts? Cultivate my dantian again? It's not like this girl always had such negative outlooks in life, but ever since her life got turned upside from her Shifu perishing one day, then her dantian being ruined by Wen Feifei's cruelty, this orphan lass had no one else to turn to. Imagine living a life on such an unstable path after being left on the streets. The amount of hardship would be something most wouldn't ever experience, let alone understand. Using this uncertain mindset, Bai Yi stiffly went towards the bed. She intends to do as told and practice again after consuming the pill, but things take time, and this time would be for the whole night. Next morning, without deviating from the expected plan, the lass's shattered dantian had started to show signs of recovery. She could feel it. Unfortunately, the progress she made in the past didn't return and would require it all to be redone in strides. But that's not an issue at all, does it? The important bit was she could. There's hope again. Looking out the window, Bai Yi once again regained the lost energy that she once held in the past. She's rejuvenated. It looks like your dantian is starting to recover. It's then Bai Yan's voice drifted over. Elated by the voice, the lass swings her head around to meet those familiar eyes. Sister Bai Yen, how did you get in here without me opening the door? Chuckling at the silliness of that question. You didn't close your door properly last night, so how do you think I got in here? Oh, scratching the back of her head in embarrassment, Bai Yi also starts to chuckle like she used to as a child. I guess my old habits are still there. I forgot to close my room like I used to. Sister Bai Yen, I'm not dreaming, right? I can really practice martial art and cultivate again? If it's a dream, then I would rather not wake up again. Aching in the heart again, Bai Yen didn't need any more hint on the sort of hardship her immaturity had brought upon this foster sister of hers. Quickly nodding so she wouldn't get any strange thoughts. Of course, when did I ever lie to you? Sniffling in the nose like she's about to cry now, Bai Yi couldn't hold back her emotions anymore. Sister Bai Yen, I can't even begin to describe what I'm feeling right now. When Shifu passed away and you were gone, I didn't have anyone left. Then when Fei Fei destroyed my Dantian, I really wanted to jump into a river and end my life. I didn't have any hope, only struggling to live each day like a zombie. Pausing to hold in her swelling tears. But I can see the light now. My Dantian has recovered. Not fully, but I can feel it mending. Even if I don't have all the strength I had in the past, I will work hard and not bring shame to Shifu again. I vow to avenge her with my all. 10 years ago, it was Bai Yu who adopted her and gave her courage to live. So, in this girl's heart, that woman was like a god. A goal she must pursue with her all. As for Bai Yan, well, that lady's too outstanding to the point the younger sister here couldn't even imagine catching up. Saving a lowly one. Bai Yan soon left the hotel after confirming Bai Yi's well-being. She had other things to do, however. She didn't make it far before being called out by someone from the back. "Hey beautiful, is it really you?" The voice belongs to a handsome man who directly ran ahead to get in her way. Stopping in her step at recognizing who it was, Bai Yan pricks her brow in amusement. "You need something? Didn't you say you were going to come find me, oh beautiful? I waited all night and you didn't come. Thank goodness I came searching and found you here. So how is it, do you have a portrait of your son yet?" Ling Lang's, her cousin, mouth carried the iconic smile that he so commonly used to seduce the other sex, showing how much he's trying to put on a good image here. Sure, the other side had a son already and he doesn't know she's his cousin as well. But being the flirtatious playboy that he was, why shouldn't he go for her when there's no mention of a husband? Heck, in this modern age, it's not uncommon to find a single mother at all. Not uncommon at all. Oh, Bai Yan actually forgot about the portrait and found herself in a bind. "Do you have a brush in your home? I can draw a portrait of him now. If this silly cousin of mine helps, then it will be easier to find Xiachen. Why not? Of course, we can go to my home. I sent the jade to my grandfather last night and he liked it a lot." Grinning in the face like a curious little wolf. "I say beautiful. I still haven't gotten your name yet. And where's your husband? I haven't seen anyone with you so far." "My name is Bai Yan." Smiling at the mention of her possessive husband, Bai Yan's happiness couldn't be hidden. "He is, my husband is not of this world." Oblivious to how misleading her own sentence was there, Bai Yan only meant it as Ditsong being in the celestial realm right now and not on Earth. However, that sentence had an entirely different meaning for Ling Lang's ear, who immediately perked up. So her husband's dead? It's not easy for a woman to raise a child on her own. No wonder she's struggling to find her son. Thinking of this, the playboy's gaze towards Bai Yan now had a hint of pity. "Forgive me, Ms. Bai Yan. I shouldn't have mentioned your husband without knowing better. As for your son, I will try my best to help you find him." Nodding at that, the lady here didn't think much else of her cousin's kind words. She and him are relatives, so why would blood-related family have that kind of thought towards each other? Unfortunately for this woman, though, she apparently forgot Ling Lang doesn't know they are cousins and kept thinking of her as an outsider. Nothing much happened during the following drive towards the man's home, or at least in the beginning. Bai Yan was sitting in the passenger seat to rest herself while occasionally nodding to Ling Lang's constant yapping. Then it occurred. A swirling sports car that came out of nowhere on the road in front of them. Out of reflex, Ling Lang twisted the wheel and hit the brake as hard as he could. Unfortunately for the poor guy, it's too late, and by the time he realizes it, the car had rammed into a nearby pole. Fuck! Who is driving that car? Do they know how to drive? Jumping out of the vehicle despite the trickling blood down his forehead due to him hitting the windshield, Ling Lang lashes out with vigor in his voice. "Saving a lowly, too." Infuriated and in the heat of the moment, Ling Lang didn't think much of the incident and began to dial the number of the police using his cell. However, his hands soon stopped when he realizes the sports car ahead wasn't stopping and appeared to be losing control, crashing into anything in its way. Specifically, the little girl that's around years old staring cluelessly at the incoming vehicle. She's in a daze due to how sudden it's coming at her. "Smile!" There's fluster in the man's eye as he ran towards the child. Unfortunately, the distance between him and the child made it impossible for him to get in the way. In that moment, Ling Lang's entire world seems to come apart as his head exploded into a blank stupor. But then, as all hope was lost where everyone expected the lowly girl to be ruthlessly hit by the vehicle and die from the impact, something unexpected occurred. The car hit something all right. Not the little girl, though, something unmoving and hard, sending the car tumbling into the air and spinning like a wheel before crashing into another corner of the road. All had gone quiet then, leaving the street so silent that they could hear a pin drop. The reason? That's because in front of the lowly girl stood a woman, a young female wearing a red skirt and a tight blouse that emphasized her hips. Ling Lang didn't freeze like everyone else in this case, running over to the little lowly like he's seen salvation. Smile. How come you are here? Where's your bodyguard and babysitter? How come you are alone? Perhaps it's due to the danger finally passing and giving the lowly a chance to breath. But immediately after she came back to her senses, the child by the name of Smile promptly broke out into a cry. Big brother, I'm so scared. Hurrying to pull the girl into his arms like it would protect her some more. This playboy that gave off an aloof air began to caress that head to soothe the shock inside the child. It's okay, Smile. It's safe now, so don't be afraid. Tell me first, why are you here and alone? It was Auntie Wu who took me out. Ling Smile answers honestly, her mood calming down as she wiped some of those tears, then turning around to search for the mentioned person. Huh? Where's Auntie Wu? Ling Lang's face got very ugly. It doesn't take much for him to connect the dots on what's going on here and what that Auntie Wu did today. But against the little lowly's frightened appearance, he could only hold it in and keep that fury for another time. This is a setup. I need to tell Grandpa right away. Bai Yan, I have to thank you. The man turns to the girl's savior with a look of great gratitude. She is my little sister. Her name is Ling Smile. Thank goodness she is here, otherwise, I don't even want to think about the consequences. But then once he regained his composure and recalled the incredible sight of Bai Yan stepping in front of the car with one hand outstretched, his eyes would instinctively narrow in. This woman, she's a martial cultivator? Ling Lang may not be a cultivator, but he's heard enough from his mother Bai Yu about the world of martial artists. Most of those known to the public are nothing more than average with big muscles to show off their brute strength. However, there are gems among the mundane, like breaking rocks and bending steel with their bare hands, and some could even use their internal energy as armaments like real weapons. Why did you just do that? Bai Yan didn't show the same smiling face as her cousin though. Her expression carried the stern look of a lecturing teacher. Do you know how dangerous it is if the other side intended for that? You would be dead if they wished to harm you. Hanging his head, the man understood what she meant. I know. They are aiming for Smile and my family. Bai Yan, you are a kind woman to tell me that. Anyways, that's my family's business and we will handle it accordingly. My home is nearby so we can walk the rest of the way. Let me make a call first though. I need to get a tow truck here to pull my car. As unhappy as Bai Yan was at her cousin's carelessness, she also knew the fault didn't lie with these two who was victim of this attack. Then recalling back to the car, she swiftly turns her gaze to the driver's seat of the flipped vehicle. That car, there's no one driving it. A normal person would undoubtedly be freaked out by the lack of a driver. However, Bai Yan could tell someone was controlling it using some sort of ability. There's no way a malfunction would push a vehicle to that kind of speed. That's unreasonable and unrealistic. What are those in the shadows planning? Are they aiming for the Ling family or just Ling Smile? Or perhaps, they're aiming at them because of me? In this world on Earth, Bai Yan had no other family left aside from Bai Yi and her aunt Bai Ran. If someone intends to hurt her remaining family, then the gloves are coming off. Saving a lowly, 3. The Ling family's estate was located in the military district reserved for members of the army. Due to Ling Lang bringing back a woman with him, the famously flirtatious playboy of the street, the quiet and peaceful district has now become a rowdy gossip ground that's constantly peeking out to meet this new lady. Smile! Before coming back, Ling Lang had already called his mother Bai Ran and explained the car accident. Hence their reception by the beautiful madam at the door. Smile! You scared Mama here to death. The madam quickly runs over to throw herself at the little lowly. Thank goodness you are all right. Otherwise I won't know what to do. Despite being still antsy from all this, Ling's smile nevertheless kept up a smile for her own mother. Mama, it was this big sister who saved me. Only then did Bai Yan notice Bai Yan's presence, and sure enough, the madam was wowed by that incredible face. She thought she had seen the most beautiful woman in this world thanks in part due to her older sister Bai Yu. But this lady brought home by his son was at a different level altogether. Girl, warmly reaching over to grasp Bai Yan's hand. I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Our Ling family owes you a great deal for saving Smile's life. Looking down at how warm she's being received, Bai Yan's lip couldn't help but smile at that, making her feel like at home again. Auntie, it's been a long time. To think your appearance hasn't changed at all. Bai Ran visibly looks taken aback. There's shock, but more were confusion in those eyes. You are... Auntie, I'm Bai Yan. Bai Yan was no stranger to Bai Ran here. They've met already during their younger years. Though it's not a lot, the relationship between this aunt and niece remains good even before everything that eventually occurred, thus making their reunion all the more special. Trembling in her lips at the recognition, the madam appeared almost lost for words. Yoyu, you are Yener? You are really Yen Yen. Auntie, did you forget me already? When my mother brought me here the first time, cousin here was still wearing diapers. I could still remember uncle beating him for wetting himself that day. Compared with the average little girls of her age back then, Bai Yan had exceptional memory due to her innate talent. It's also one of the reasons she excelled in alchemy and could produce those pills at such a young age. Tearing up in the eyes following that confirmation, Bai Ran's grasp around her niece's hand tightened up like she would lose this child if she lets go. Yen Yen, where have you been all these years? You dad and his new wife have already moved here in the capital, but when I went to find him you were nowhere to be found. Is it because they won't let you stay with them? Regarding Winshan, her former brother-in-law, Bai Ran definitely held a strong level of grudge. One being how selfish the man was at heart, the second being the fact that he abandoned his wife at the critical moment and allowed the Bai clan to perish under the other two families' assault. Compared with the excitement of the madam here, Ling Lang didn't fare so well and wanted to faint. Bai Yan, why does the name sound so familiar all of a sudden? Bai Yu's daughter. In an instant, his whole face collapsed into a despairing look of irony and self-mockery. He thought he had a chance. He thought her husband was gone. But this turnout, they're related by blood. That wonderful picture of walking down the aisle just went out the window, saving a lowly for, I wanted to avenge my mother. That's why I left the family, but I'm back now. Ever since she crossed over into the other world, Bai Yan never thought she would be able to get the chance for revenge on the ones who hurt her family here on Earth. To be able to have this opportunity was a blessing. You two are both very stubborn. I don't know if it's my older sister who passed it on to you, but leaving without a word is improper, you understand? E2, she's just as stubborn. I wanted to help her, but because she was afraid of dragging me down, that child would repeatedly refuse my help and money. Big sis have always been the strong-headed one in the family. Father told her from the very beginning that Winshan wasn't a good man, not someone she could entrust her life to, but she insisted and married him anyways. In the end, that coward didn't even dare go collect her body after that event. What use is there for such a selfish man? But Bai Ran shifts her hand onto her niece's shoulder so their gaze would meet. Don't go thinking about revenge anymore. The backing those two clans have are not someone like you can handle. If you persist, then you will only throw your life away. I don't want my older sister's only blood to be lost as well. Although this city was very big due to it being the capital of this nation, there's only a limited number of places for individuals of high standing to visit. Therefore, it's not uncommon for Bai Ran to run into her enemies from the two clans. It hurts for sure, seeing the ones who murdered her sister and parents. But without strength, this woman knew it's futile. A pebble trying to make a wave inside a lake. That's the predicament Bai Ran has found herself in. What's more, she also has to think about her husband's side of the family. The Ling house may be one of the founding members of this nation, but the military wouldn't really move just because of a whim of one lady. There are many cogs inside this machinery, and those opposing her father-in-law, General Ling, would undoubtedly take the opportunity to poke and prod at him. Don't worry, Auntie. I have my own arrangements. Bai Yan saw the urgency in her aunt's eye and didn't want to worry her. She's here to take revenge regardless of what others say, however. That doesn't mean they needed to know her plans. A humph. Ling Lang finally came out of his depressed state after the initial shock. Mom, you don't have to keep nagging her. Let's first head inside and settle in. Me and cousin here still have something to talk about. Making a helpless smile at her son's behavior as she shook that head. What are you two going to discuss that your own mom can't hear? Oh, Bai Yan's son is missing. I'm going to be helping her look for him. An audible shattering of glass could be heard echoing in the madam's ear. Her mind literally exploded then and became a blank slate. Yan, she married? And has a son? Yan, you married? How old is the child? Bai Ran couldn't hold back her inner woes and asked. He's 8 years old. 8 years old? Ling Lang's mouth twitched at the number. He knows Bai Yan has a son, but not 8 years old. Cousin, if I remember correctly, you're only 22 this year, right? Don't tell me you had a baby when you were 14? You're saying during the past 10 years where you were missing, you've been having a baby? You know getting married that young and having a child is illegal. Pricking her brow at this dunce of a cousin. Do you have opinion about it? Going by that look and expression, Ling Lang would immediately recall back to the powerful actions of this woman stopping a car with her bare hands. Shivering slightly, he promptly shook his head with those hands doing the same. Of course not, cousin, of course not. If you don't, then help me find my son first. Giggling at that silliness, Bai Yan didn't want to keep teasing the poor guy anymore and turned back to her aunt. Auntie, you don't have to worry about me. I have my own plans already. Anyways, I want you to take care of EE in my place though. She's still at the hotel we're staying at right now. Oh, yes, of course. Bai Ran almost didn't react in time and fumbled her reply. She's still lost in the idea of her niece carrying a baby at 14 years old. That's too much for her heart. This child, she must have suffered a lot after leaving home. Big Sis always protected her well. There must be a lot of pain involved that I don't know of. The sensational stir of Bai Xiaqin's entry, 1. Airport. Coming out of the terminal was a delicate-looking steam bun. His casual clothes emphasized his handsome and lovely features and causing all those walking nearby to stare in amazement. Oh my God! Is this kid a star or something? How can one look so handsome and cute? Did he eat something special to grow up like this? From time to time, someone would take out their phones and begin recording, uploading the video to their friends and blogs as well. Bai Xiaqin had never been exposed to the customs of modern-day people from Earth. Thus their actions are making him especially uncomfortable. However, he's not going to tell them off like he would in the other world since they're not doing anything hostile. That's a lesson he learned from Bai Yan. Only hurt those who hurt him, otherwise it's not right to harm others. Big Bear, do you have any news on where my mother is yet? He asks the big bodyguard that's behind himself. Twitching in the mouth over the way he's being addressed, the man tasked with guiding the boy makes a helpless face. Little master, your father only tasked me with bringing you to the capital. I don't know where your mother is. The main reason the boy kept calling this man using that nickname was due to how thick and tall he was. He's giving off the impression of a big grizzly bear. Coupling in with the fact that Bai Xiaqin loves animals, it's only proper he address someone in his entourage as so. Of course, the poor bodyguard didn't like the name but accepted it since his repeated attempts at correction fell on deaf ear. Oh! Bai Xiaqin puckers his lips unhappily. With mother's personality, I know she won't go to that one clan. In that case, I think we should go look for her on our own. Let's find a place to stay first. How about it, Big Bear? Yes, that's a wonderful idea, little master. Big Bear respectfully complies by agreeing. He couldn't ask for a better idea, honestly. Then let's go. Unbeknownst to the little guy, though, his images have already been posted across social media and gone viral, making him a small celebrity before he even made out of the airport. There are no shortages of good-looking kids in this world. However, finding one as delicate and handsome as him was a rarity. It drew millions of views online and roused a huge craze of search and investigation. Sadly, since this would be the first time he ever stepped foot into this world, no information ever came of the efforts. He's an enigma to these nosy people. Tian clan. Following the ringing of a cell phone, Yu Snowing rubs her forehead and groggily answers it by pulling the device from under the pillow. Hello, big bro, what? The son of the young lord has come to the capital? Alright, I understand. I will let my husband know. Don't worry. We will definitely seize this opportunity to please the child. Excitement could be visibly seen across the lady's face as she hung up the phone. Tian Wind, hurry and wake up. My big brother just said the little young master has come to our city. We need to hurry and find him. This opportunity won't come a second time if we miss it. Joy promptly filled the man's eye. This really is wonderful news. Let's do this. When we visit, we can bring our daughter along and let them meet. I know you don't want to force her into a marriage arrangement, so this is a good chance to let her have some time with that kid. This way it won't be so awkward if she does marry the child's father. The woman's face got very stiff then. She had no illusion about their daughter's unwillingness to becoming someone's stepmother. But what else was she supposed to do? It's not she could just tell her husband off when he's already stretching out an olive branch. The sensational stir of Bai Xiaoqin's entry, too. Biting her lip in a tied manner. Husband, foreign is still a woman, having her go care for a child that, I think it's not a good idea. It might affect her reputation. Frowning now in the face due to his wife's indecision. What wrong with that idea? If you want our daughter to climb further than us, then we must do this. Also, the Water Clan have always been very low-key, and your older brother won't let us use his name here either. Because of that reasoning, no one actually knows he's the current housekeeper of that clan. Pausing to gather his words so he doesn't mess it up. But if we can tie ourselves to the young lord of the Water Clan, then our future is secured. No one will ever dare challenge our family, nor do you have to worry about foreign's future. Yu Snowing had to admit her husband's argument was winning her over. She's the younger sister of the Water Clan's housekeeper, yet no one knows that fact, nor does she dare give the details out. And, seeing there's still a hint of hesitation, the man quickly follows up with his final move. Didn't your brother tell us to grasp onto this opportunity? Don't you get what he means by that? Actually, this time around it's Tian Wind who's overthinking the meaning of that message. Yu Snowing's older brother only wanted them to keep Bai Xiaoqin happy and make sure he has a good time in the capital. Nothing more and nothing less. After all, it's a well-known fact by now that Ditsong greatly cares for this son of his and that unknown future wife. Why would he go ask his own niece to poke into this relationship at a time like now? It's the same as throwing themselves into the fire pit for roasting. Still not fully convinced since her daughter's stubborn face won't stop coming up. But foreign already stared she's not willing. Unwilling? Tian Wind snickers derisively. She's going to be the Water Clan's bride-to-be. What can she complain about? It's a blessing that most could only dream about. I don't care how you do. Just get her to follow us to receive the little boy. She doesn't need to know why. Just keep her in the dark. In the end, this woman could only give in. As much as she would like to discuss this some more, but she knows her husband here better than anyone. When he's like this, then there's no changing his mind. Whatever then, I won't get involved anymore. However, I still want our daughter to willing agree to the marriage first. If she still refuses, then I'm not going to force her. I know foreign's personality better than anyone. If we do force her, then she would rather die than submit. You're fretting too much. Foreign is my daughter too. How can I not care about her? Pleased by his wife's answer, Tian Wind got a lot better in the face as he spoke. Go call foreign and get her ready. We will go find the little boy now. Okay. Nodding as told, the woman slowly got out of bed and went downstairs. As it turns out, the hotel where Bai Xiaoqin was staying happens to be the very same one Bai Yi was staying at. And towards the new and unknown, the boy would curiously touch and stare in amazement at the high-tech appliances surrounding himself. For example, the elevator that's able to carry him up and down caught his attention the most, like a child finding a novelty toy. The sensational stir of Bai Xiaoqin's entry. 3. Big Bear. Why does this thing open the door on its own? And what's an ID card? Why is the crystal on the overhead so bright? And what was the bird we were sitting in? Don't one usually sit on top of a bird and not inside it? He only came to Earth for a few days, so there are many things Bai Xiachen still hasn't learned yet. Coupling the situation with Ditsong's inherent clinging to the old style of living like using oil lamps and such, the boy never got much experience in the comforts of technology. Thus his odd and strange questions. And regarding the plane they flew in, the steambun here didn't particularly like it very much, especially when it came to the speed at which it flew at. He could have flown here on his own and at a much faster rate. This kid, is he mentally challenged? Unaware of his own remarks though, those nearby who had heard it showed a look of surprise when staring at the boy. Or did he just come out of the mountains? How can he not know what an elevator and ceiling light is? Unlike the others though, Big Bear seems to have already become accustomed to his ward's antics and continued to walk without emotion. He knows he's better off ignoring the voices of others in a situation like this. Ha! Suddenly, a mocking snicker came from the side of the elevator. Is a high-end hotel someplace any country bumpkin can come? You better get out of here before I call the manager. Originally Bai Xiachen was still captivated by the novelty of the elevator in front of himself. But now his eyes have shifted entirely to the woman that's making a very displeased face. If one didn't know better, they might assume the boy did something heinous to her and caused a deep grudging hatred. If this wasn't Wen Fei Fei, then who else could it be? She's been in a very foul mood ever since yesterday's excruciating pain. Therefore, she had come today to threaten Bai Yi and demand the lass in helping her get the antidote from Bai Yan. However, instead of complying like this foul girl had imagined, the once soft-minded Bai Yi had gotten a backbone again and retaliated by yelling back. This infuriating Wen Fei Fei to the core, which in turn resulted in this outburst of the elevator. She's using Bai Xiachen as a venting hole. Are you scolding me? The boy asks with his iconic smile of innocent nature, the prelude to the downfall of all those who cross him. Snickering some more. If not you, then who else can I be scolding? A country bumpkin like you dare to stay in a fancy hotel? Don't you know the price of one night is equal to your whole village's income for a year? I have to wonder what the security guards are doing to let someone like you in here. Despite the foul words coming out of that mouth, the steambun merely stared at the filthy girl, never once blinking like a curious child. What are you looking at? Wen Fei Fei snaps again and flew into a deeper rage. You never seen a beauty before or something? Why are you staring at me like that? Oh, that... Puckering his lips to one side. Mother told me I shouldn't talk to the mad dogs in the city, that's why I didn't say anything. I've always wondered what she meant. Now I do. The sensational stir of Bai Xiachen's entry for, since Bai Xiachen followed his mother around since he was a baby, the boy had seen a lot of pieces of work over the years. However, meeting one that's this special that would inexplicably rush over to cause trouble was a first. He had nothing to do with her, so it flabbergasted even him who's a known troublemaker. Growing irate after getting the boy calling her out, Wen Fei Fei growled menacingly. You just scolded me by calling me a mad dog? I didn't scold you. I'm only calling you a mad dog because that's what you are. Is there a problem? Using his childish facade, Bai Xiachen's face makes it really hard for others to doubt his innocence. What's more, where's the issue with him being from the countryside even if that's the case? Why should he be scolded by some random stranger when he did nothing? Miss, there's nothing wrong with what this child said. Why are you? An onlooker couldn't keep watching anymore and decides to speak up to help. However, that murderous glare instantly shuts the crowd up. Who do you people think you are to tell me what to do? What is wrong about what I just said? The money he has must be stolen. I'm gonna call the police right now and get him jailed. Originally Big Bear didn't want to interfere into this silly scuffle of verbs, but when he overheard the way Wen Fei Fei insulted not only the boy, but also his origin, then that's already past the line. Getting stern in the face. My young master here rarely goes out, so it's normal for him to not know these things. But when did a black diamond credit card become so common that anyone can just steal it? Visibly freezing in the face at the mention, the wench almost couldn't believe her own ears. Black diamond credit card? How can these country bumpkins have a black diamond credit card? What's going on here? It's then the manager of this establishment came running over due to the noise complaints. He's flustered in the face and wanted to get the situation under control due to how much of commotion it's causing in the lobby. Manager. The receptionist at the front desk finally gathered her wits and spoke up nervously. Just now this little boy and his attendant used a black diamond credit card to check in, but Miss Wen here claims he stole it. When Fei actually only said the boy stole money, not the card part. However, as we all know, words are easily twisted when landing on others' ear. Feeling the pressure of the situation, the manager hurries to wipe the sweat from his forehead to deliberate on the proper action of defusing the heat. This black diamond card, as if one can steal it? That's the first time I ever heard of such a thing. Miss One, maybe you don't know this, but a black diamond card is not something one can use even if they pick it up from the streets. So that shouldn't be the case. His words acted like a slap across the foul girl's cheek, making her all red and indignant, glaring at the boy like a wild animal. If you have a black diamond card, then why didn't you say so earlier? Puckering his lips like an aggrieved child, Bai Xiaqin's reply left many unable to doubt his sincerity. You didn't ask me, did you? If you didn't tell me, then I would have thought it was my bodyguard who stole it or something. Besides, how can you expect a little kid like me to know such things? Turning green from white, when Fei's anger couldn't be withheld and exploded like a volcano at the gathered crowd who's snapping pictures left and right. You're not allowed to film me. All of you close your phones right now. Sadly for this wench, it's too late by this point. Someone had already videotaped the whole encounter and posted it online. I will remember this brat, sneering viciously in the face. You will quickly learn that money isn't the only factor that decides one's status, its strength. Even if you have more money, there is going to be a moment where you trip over after crossing someone you shouldn't. The sensational stir of Bai Xiaqin's entry, 5, grinning along his cute little face. Auntie, you are so old already. Don't you know it's not proper manner to call someone else a brat? Moreover, my father told me no one can make me feel wronged while in this country. You? When Fei's gaze grew hard and jarring as she got up close in order to slap him as punishment. Sadly for her though, those legs didn't even make it 2 steps forward before being blocked off by the big bodyguard that exuded an aura of danger and dominance. This man, he's a martial artist, a real one? And from the looks of it, he's not the boy's family either, more like some sort of bodyguard. Who can afford to pay someone like this? The foul wench thought, unable to comprehend why Big Bear would willingly work under a child. Sadly for when Fei though, the big man didn't want to waste time dealing with a nobody. Reaching down with one hand, he lifts the lass up and readily moves to toss her out like a dog through the sliding glass exit. This behavior would have long warranted an interference from the bystanders. This was a young girl being thrown out by a big strong man here in public. However, when Fei had quite the reputation around these parts, and the good kind for that matter. She's an arrogant bitch, a well-known Karen that's been long despised by those of high society. Therefore, seeing such karma coming around against this girl sent them all in delight and found it justly deserved. Little brother, the manager quickly speaks up after seeing the situation was devolving even further. That lady is the daughter of the One Clan, a powerful family in these parts. If your bodyguard hurts her, then her people will definitely come back for revenge. I suggest you leave right away and hide abroad. This boy doesn't deserve what's coming. He needs to leave and save himself. No matter the influence and reach of the One Clan, they can't stretch their claws to other countries. The One Clan? Mr. Manager, are you talking about the same family that has a person by the name of Wenshan? He asks while stroking his little chin. A sure sign the steam bun was coming up with the naughtiest plan in his head. The manager nods seriously with all the strength of a kind stranger. Yes, there is such a man in that clan. He's a well-known individual around here. But why do you ask that, little brother? Oh, then that's perfect. Bai Xiaqin jumps up in glee. Mr. Manager, if they do come looking for me, then please send them up to my room. I can save some trouble in looking for them myself. The manager literally gawked his mouth in shock and disappointment. In his view, this child was still too immature and was seeking his own demise by not fleeing right away. Didn't you hear my young master's command? Big Bear had finished tossing the package out when he returned to see the scene. That's why he got harsh in his voice, seeing the hesitation in the manager's face. They are the Water Clan, individuals at the peak of the martial world in this country. Forget about some puny Wen clan and their lackeys, even government officials would have to think twice before crossing members of their clan. And sure enough, the manager yielded to the request after seeing the resolute face of his patrons. He's a worker here only, not some savior that should pry into others' business. Some time later, the event in the lobby didn't upset the steam bun at all today. In fact, it's brought him great joy when a second party suddenly showed up at his doorstep and now currently stood before himself across the table. I'm so lucky. To think I would meet Mother's enemy this quickly. Will she praise me if I punish them properly? Oh, what to do? How should I deal with these people? Of course, the smiling grin of the boy had an entirely different meaning for Tianwen, who had come today specifically to welcome Bai Xiachen. He even thought it's because the kid liked his own daughter a lot and hurried to push the last forward. Little young master, it's a great pleasure of ours to welcome you to this city. If I had known you were coming ahead of time, then I would have arranged an entourage for you at the airport. Please meet my daughter. Her name is Tianwen and will be happy to act as your guide while you are staying here. Tianwen originally didn't want to come since she's being dragged along. But after realizing how incredibly handsome and cute the boy was, her eyes fell into a trance at the possibilities. If his son is this cute and handsome, then what makes the father? That young lord from the Water Clan must be mesmerizing. What a shame his health is so poor. If I do marry him, then I can only be a widow at such a young age. The sensational stir of Bai Xiachen's entry. 6. She doesn't seem to want to meet me at all, does she? Bai Xiachen only needed a glance to pick up on the displeased aura coming off of the girl. Without surprise, Tianwen's expression got a huge scare at being caught and hurried to glare at his own daughter to get the last in line. Turning back to the boy, how can that be? Little young master, you are so lovely and handsome. No one can possibly dislike you. Then that's good. Bai Xiachen smiles accordingly while hiding the naughty grin inside. My family's Yellowy is missing a female companion, and I also like your daughter so she can be his mate. How about that arrangement? Yellowy? Tianwen got stumped for words. What is this Yellowy? According to reason, the young boy here should be introducing foreign to the young lord. Why someone else? Yellowy is a big golden retriever in my home. I think they are a good match. Tianwen's face immediately got green. This brat wants my daughter to be a mate for a dog? And he dares to say they're a good match. Where the hell does he see they're a good match? Sir, you must be jesting me, right? He asks with a hint of displeasure, twitching in the lips all the while trying to hold in his inner anger. Remaining serious as he replied, the steambun's words were damning. How can you say I'm joking? I'm serious. But, human and dog, how do you match them? Though unintended, that sentence thoroughly angered the boy and caused him to jump up from the sofa. Are you looking down on dogs? Why can't a human be matched with a dog? In my opinion, Yellowy is loyal and obedient, many times better than some people around here. Your Tian clan wants to throw your daughter to my father's side and have her become his woman? Who do you think you are to have such ideas? In my view, she is only qualified to be my pet's mate. He's a smart one, so how could Bai Xiachen not pick up on their intents as soon as they appeared? The only baffling part to all this was how stupid these people are. Why would they expect him to turn on his own mother and help them put another woman by Ditsong's side? That's just ridiculous and stupid. Tianwen's face suddenly froze, his eyes showing incredulous and shock over what he's heard. It's true he wanted to use the steam bun to his own advantage and stuff Tianwen to Ditsong's side, but to be exposed by an immature brat left him stupefied. Getting the reaction that he wanted, Bai Xiachen retracts his angry gaze and continued with his plan. I heard your Tian clan destroyed another clan a while back. Is it the Bai clan? Startled by the question, Tianwen popped his eyes right away. How did this kid know about that? Little young master, there is indeed such an incident, but that's over 10 years ago already. May I know why you are bringing the matter up again? Bai Xiachen's heart instantly clenched up like someone just wrung it through the washer. That's how much it affected him. How much hardship did Mother experience while on Earth? She had to watch her loved ones die, and then watch her own father let that happen before her very eyes. These people must pay. I'll ask you one last question. Why did you destroy the Bai clan? For what reason? Regarding the reason for destroying Bai Yan's family, perhaps only the ones responsible would know the answer to that, hence his persistence in pressing the matter. Tian Wind didn't know why he's being pressured for something that shouldn't be related to the current matter at hand. However, he knew enough not to cross the young child in front of himself, especially when there's a wary bodyguard from the Water Clan nearby. Make no mistake, Tian Wind may be conceited and power-hungry at times, but his perception in recognizing a dangerous variable was top-notch. The one clans here, one. Little young master, this matter, it's not that I can't say. Frowning in the face, Tian Wind spent a moment to go over his own words, to not let anything that he didn't want spoken to slip. It's like this. At the beginning, the reason we destroyed the Bai clan was because we got word of that family holding a treasure that could help one gain divinity. We wanted to offer it up to your father as a gift. Sadly, after gaining possession of it, there was no way to know how to use said treasure, hence our reluctance to bring it forward. Those are nice words indeed, however. Tian Wind never once thought about giving it to Ditsong at all, in fact. After all, who wouldn't want to become a god or celestial immortal if possible? But as years dragged on with no sign of them ever figuring out the secret to said item, he figured it's better to use it now today as a gift to win some points with the Water Clan. At least that way he would curry some favors. Sadly for this man though, Bai Shachen wasn't going to go along with his plan. The boy's face remains unchanged without any sign of being ecstatic after being told the lie. So, it's for some treasure that you destroyed the Bai clan? Bai Shachen asks again, his eyes starting to narrow in. Taken aback at first, Tian Wind had to take a good second to understand the boy's words. Hastening to laugh in order to break the tension. Little young master, you don't have to worry about the Bai clan's demise. No one will know about the connection between the Tian clan and the Water clan. There won't be any unwanted rumors floating around. I can promise you that. Oh, pricking his brow at the odd reply, Bai Shachen now got somewhat curious at what the man meant. And what would that connection be? How come I don't know? Still not following, the man continues to speak without much forethought. The housekeeper in the Water clan is my brother-in-law. I see. Bai Shachen nods his head like he's understanding it now. Then turning to the big bodyguard nearby. Big Bear, go tell my father to change the housekeeper. We don't need such a person working under us. Batty father really messed up this time. He's been here for 8 years and doesn't even realize mother's enemy is actually right under his nose. I wonder what mother will do to him if I tell her about this blunder. Will Batty father be shown the whip? Tian Wind's expression promptly crumbled into a look of horror and shock. Little young master, is there a misunderstanding between us? My brother-in-law has been working faithfully under the Water clan's rule. How can you dismiss him so readily? Grinning right up to his eyes at being called out, Bai Shachen knew it's his time to play. That's easy. I don't like the guy and that makes me unhappy. What other reason would I need? If I don't like an individual, then it's only normal for me to change them out. Duh. As for the debt with these people from the Tian clan, I'll wait till mother gets here and let her do the final decision-making. I'm sure mother will be very pleased. Though Batty father did say not to let mother dirty her hands. But I'm sure she will like to anyways. Dad. Tian Foreign's complexion hadn't looked good to begin with. Now after hearing the steambun's words, her face only got uglier as she stomped her feet. What's so great about this little thing? All he did is be born into a good life. If his mother didn't go seduce a sick bastard that's about to kick the bucket, why else would he be born? And now he dares to threaten uncle's livelihood and status? That young lord from the Water clan can't be this stupid. I refuse to believe such a thing. The one clan's here. 2. Foreign. Tian Wind quickly grabs hold of his daughter's arm and drags hers behind his back. Little young master, you have to forgive my daughter, but can you give me a reason for changing my brother-in-law out? How can he just so casually say it's because he doesn't like the guy? Making a yawn as he lazily stretched those arms, Bai Shachen didn't reply and instead turns to his own bodyguard. Big Bear, remove them from my sight. I want to rest now. Do not disturb me unless I call for you. Yes, sir. The one with the nickname promptly stepped up like a huge mountain that he was, blocking off the path for any chance of retaliation from these unwanted guests. Then again, the precautionary step was unwarranted here today. Tian Wind never even thought about hitting the steam bun, let alone retaliate. In fact, he's so scared of being thrown out by the big guy that he actually launched himself out the door on his own and disappeared from the corridor. And so, that's how the Tian clan had their first bout with the naughty steam bun. Dad, this little brat is too much. It's bad enough that he thought about matching me with a dog. Now he even called to demote uncle from his post? Based on what can he do that? Tian Foreign unhappily stomps her feet after leaving the hotel, her eyes glaring with indignation at the glassy walls of the structure. Foreign, do you now know the benefits of having power? Tian Wind also follows his daughter's gaze and glared up to the glass windows that blocked off his view from Bai Xiaqin's room. If you can become the Water Clan's woman, then our family won't have to worry about this happening again. Please, sweetie, I'm not trying to force you into a marriage, but our family only reached this stage thanks to your uncle's position. Now that he's unable to shield us anymore, what do you think the other clans would do if they ever figured out your uncle's gone? Tian Foreign got what her dad was implying, but just thinking about how she's going to one day marry a medicine pot that might die anytime was sickening to her own heart. Dad, why did the brat target our family? We never offended him in any way, did we? Silly daughter. The man sighs at those innocent words. Did you not see how cunning that kid was? He saw through our plan from the very beginning, meaning his mother must have taught him about these power struggles from an early age. That woman is not a simple one. The boy's mother will be difficult to deal with if Foreign is ever to be at the young lord's side. She will do anything to remove us from the picture, and before then I need to find out more on who this person is. The only one that can be the next chief's wife is my daughter, and if not, Foreign must at least be the guy's secret lover. Tian Foreign didn't say more as she hung her head in contemplation. She's still struggling on selling her own happiness out for power, but that deliberately soon started to waver towards giving in once Bai Xiaqin's arrogant face popped up in her mind. Her hands had clenched up into a ball of frustration. Am I really going to have to do this? Do I really have to sell my own body out in order to gain power? Am I that much of a disgusting character, willing to become a brat's stepmother? Foreign, you need to understand the situation you are in right now. That child in there is the young lord's son. Even if his mother can't marry into the Water Clan, she's still the boy's mother. No matter what happens, a child wouldn't want someone else being their stepmother when his own remains. Know this, you are going to face hostility no matter the choice you make, that's a fact. After saying that, the man ticks his lips upward into a smirk like the obstacle was no problem. Dad, please don't say any more. Foreign's brain remains very messy and needed time to gather her thoughts. Tomorrow? I'll give you a proper answer tomorrow. After leaving the hotel, Tian Wind didn't go anywhere else, only having the driver bring them back to their home. However, before the pair could even make it one step into the front door, the lady of the house had already come storming out of the front with an anxious face. The one clan's here. 3. Husband, what happened over at the hotel? Why did my older brother suddenly get a call from the young lord that he's dismissed from his position as the housekeeper? Yu Snowing cries, her face pale and unstable. Tian Wind promptly halted in his own steps, staring right up to his own wife. What did you just say? Tian Wind, what did you do to offend the little young master? My brother has been the Water Clan's housekeeper for 30 years, and my father and his father has been doing the same during their times. Why would they suddenly dismiss him? Yu Snowing's older brother didn't earn the position inside the Water Clan, rather that he inherited from his old man like a family legacy passing on the baton. The only issue was the harsh regulations that came with said post. Unless it's the individual themselves who's going to be the housekeeper, no other person from the Yu family could enter the Water Clan. Dad! Tian Foreign cries out as well as she fell into a panic. He really did it. They really dismissed Uncle just because of one phone call from that brat. How could this have happened so quickly? Uncle worked for the Water Clan for 30 years. This is unreasonable. Tian Wind didn't want to quibble with her daughter regarding why. He's only growing more solemn in the face due to the indications of what this meant for his plans regarding betrothing Foreign to Ditsong. It won't be easy and he knows it. Husband. Yu Snowing grabs onto the man's arm. Tell me this isn't happening. Please tell me this is all a dream. Didn't my brother tell you to take good care of the little young master? What did you do to offend him? Tell me. At the end of the day, the lady of the house has lost all composure, grew mad crazy in those eyes. This outburst would be a first for Yu Snowing. Ever since she married into the Tian clan, this lady had never gone overboard into an argument. She's well-educated and well-disciplined, and that's all because of her older brother's status. But that's all come to an end, all because of her husband's folly and ignorance. Mom, it's not Dad's fault. Tian Foreign saw her parents fighting and wanted to stop it. All of this is because the brat didn't like me. He says I'm too beautiful and thinks I'm trying to steal his father away from his mother. Humph, nothing but a gold-digging slut that goes after riches. Otherwise, why else would that woman sleep with a medicine pot? With her fists clenched, the lass could barely keep that breathing in check. Such evil people are bound to fail. Dad, I've made up my mind. I'm willing to marry into the Water Clan. The lass's plan was simple. She must get revenge for today's humiliation by driving the brat out using his own father's hand. Afterwards, she would then ditch the medicine pot using some excuse of some kind. After all, getting revenge was one thing, wasting her life on a limp dog was another. Yu Snowing's eyes only got more anxious after hearing her daughter's outburst. Foreign? What are you saying? That Water Clan is so dangerous. How can you even think about marrying into that family? You can't go. The one clan's here for. If at first Yu Snowing still had the same idea as her husband in pushing Foreign into an arranged marriage, then now she's totally of the opposite opinion. This mother only wants her daughter to stay far away from those people who would drive her older brother out after 30 years of service. Mom, I was ignorant before, that's why I wasn't willing. I know better now. I'm a daughter of this Tian clan. I won't let anyone harm us or push us around. Tian Foreign appears firm and calm despite the plea from her own mother. Sure enough, Yu Snowing couldn't say more as she stammered for a proper reply. You're too emotional. There is nothing wrong with what our daughter said. If she becomes the young lord's woman, then it will only bring our family endless benefit. What do you know as a simple woman? Tian Wind harshly lectures his own wife, not holding anything back in his tone. Before, this man would always keep himself from being too harsh towards his wife due to that brother-in-law. But he's no longer the Water Clan's housekeeper, meaning he had no reason to be merciful and could do as he please. Come, Foreign. Go inside and get a good rest. I'll think of other ways to get you into the Water Clan. Giving his wife one final warning glare, the man leads his daughter inside by directing the girl along. Naturally, the cold reception didn't escape the lady's eye, which in part left Yu Snowing cold to the core as she watched the two closest kin she had slowly disappear from view. She wants to change things. Sadly, the woman also knows that without her older brother's support, her status within the Tian clan has diminished greatly. Compared with the chaos of the Tian clan, the One clan was also going through a turbulent time. When Fei Fei had just returned from the hotel after suffering the humiliation when the door to her room got pushed open. Startled at first, she quickly regains her head and called out to the entering individual. Pa! Bang! When Shan didn't greet her daughter like usual though, instead he slams the cell phone in his hand against the ground. He's livid and green all over in the face. When Fei Fei, do you think this city is your back garden or something? Take a good look at the stuff you pulled at the hotel. It's all over social media already. Frame a child and then threaten the crowd? Get posted across the internet and become a meme? When Fei Fei's first instinct was to freeze along the sofa and not make any movements. She knows it's too late to hide the matter and decides to keep that mouth shut lest she causes more trouble. Husband. Chai Moon had heard the loud commotion between her husband and daughter by now and decides to intervene. However, instead of defending her child like most mothers would in these cases, the woman actually ran over and slapped the lass across the face. Fei Fei, what did I teach you over the years? I told you not to seek trouble or cause it. Why won't you listen? Look how mad your pa is now. staring up with tears streaking down those cheeks, when Fei Fei quietly sobs as she replied, "Ma, I didn't mean to, but when I went to ask Bai Yi to help me get the antidote, that girl humiliated me and then kicked me out. I didn't dare to fight back, so I got angry and lost control when I yelled at that boy. Oh, Fei Fei, my poor child." Weeping in the face, Chai Moon moves closer and brings her daughter into a hug to showcase how pitiful they were in front of the man. Whether Bai Yi is good or bad, she's still Bai Yu's apprentice. No matter what you do, you shouldn't have gone to bother her. You are better than that, I know you are. Don't worry, my Fei Fei. Your ma and pa here won't leave you like this and let you suffer in pain. Ma, based on what can that Bai Yi do that to me? If not for our family picking her off the streets and raising her, she would be dead long ago from starvation. Just because Bai Yen returned, she's got a backbone now? I can't accept this. I can't accept such a bad person stepping all over me when I did nothing wrong. The one clan's here, 5. Truth was when Fei Fei lied. When the foul wench went to the hotel and made a fuss inside the room, Bai Yi in fact didn't retort or mock her at all. The other girl merely spouted the truth and refused the request before slamming the door in when Fei Fei's face. But when Shan doesn't need to know that, does he? All this man needs to know was his daughter got humiliated somewhere outside. That's all. Their mouth belongs to them. Let them say whatever they like. As long as I know your ma and you aren't bad people, then that's all it matters. Also, Fei Fei, you can't vent your anger at a child regardless of your emotions. Do you know what your actions have caused to our family? The one clan have become a laughingstock among our peers right now. I will not permit another repeat of today's incident. Understand? If he hadn't been drunk that year, then Chai Moon wouldn't have gotten pregnant. In the end, it's his fault and he know it. Well, on the surface level anyways. Pa! When Fei Fei sobs some more as he met her old man's gaze. I understand. I will never do it again. All right, I will go handle the aftermath. You two rest while I go find your grandfather to discuss the matter. Starting today, no one in this household is allowed to go out. Okay. The girl didn't argue, only behaving like a good obedient daughter. However, this wasn't enough to completely reassure the wary man here. Downstairs in the living room. Wife, you keep an eye on Fei Fei for the coming days. I still don't feel comfortable if there's no one watching her. Raising a hand to pause the lady from interrupting after catching that moving mouth, when Shan wants to finish his sentence first. I know what you want to say, but that Bai Yi is a heartless wolf. There's no way she would help us get the antidote. Then how? Chai Moon still appeared worried in the face. I understand. Don't worry. I will be sure to keep an eye on Fei Fei. I won't let her take a step outside our home. Pleased by the answer, when Shan nods and said nothing more before heading out the door. The military housing district. Inside the second floor of the Ling household's estate, Bai Yen casually places the paintbrush in her hand away after drawing a portrait of her boy. Cousin, when did you learn to paint like that? Nowadays everyone only does it on a notepad or laptop. Is it Aunt Yu who taught you? Ling Lang was flabbergasted and surprised by how skilled Bai Yen was at the old art. With a faint smile on her lips, she hands the painting to Ling Lang without elaborating. Don't be nosy. Here, this is my son's portrait. He is called Bai Shachen. Hurry and go help me locate his whereabout. Taking it like a little dunt that he was, the handsome man was immediately taken aback by how lovely the little boy was in the picture. On top of that, he recognized that face. Cousin? Coughing to clear his throat. Do you ever go on the web? Web. It's Bai Yan's turn to be bewildered. What is that? Now the guy's got it. Ling Lang had his suspicion about his cousin being a hermit due to the nature of a martial clan's usual behavior. Now the reply from Bai Yen merely confirms it. Wait here. I'll go get my phone and show you. The one clan's here. 6. Ling Lang didn't need much effort to locate the proper webpage once he found his phone. Today there was a child that appeared over at the airport. He's very cute and adorable, similar to those little fairies you often see in those TV shows. Because of that reason, someone posted his picture on the internet and received a lot of coverage from the media. Everyone's guessing who that star child is. After saying that, He flips the screen so that the woman could also see for herself. Lighting up in the face at the recognition, Bai Yan's expression grew very excited. It is Xiaqin. That means he's also in the city? Ling Lang, hurry and go find out where he is. I'm gonna see him. Okay. Give me a minute to make a call. I'll have my people search where he is. Then right as the dun of a man wanted to call for help, a ringing sound of a tweet stopped him from doing so. The following message read as so. Little boy faced trouble at high-end hotel and offended the young miss of the one clan. This? Seeing the title of that message, Ling Lang immediately opened up his phone again and turned it to Bai Yan. I don't have to ask around anymore. Your son is at a hotel right now, specifically the same one you're staying at. Bai Yan felt slightly happy that's the case, but her eyes soon narrowed into a dangerous look as she sneered over the title. It looks like I didn't give that one Fei enough pain to let her learn. She dares to harass my son. Ling Lang. Have you looked into the mirror lately, my dear cousin? Do you know how ridiculous it is to assume you can give birth to a boy that old? But Guy didn't give his thoughts out because he also found it rather strange that when Fei would know about Bai Xiaqin and go harass the child. It doesn't make much sense. Also, how would she know the kid would be staying in that hotel? Just as his lips were moving and he wanted to say something, a little Lori ran in from pushing open the door. Big brother. The big bad man from the one clan is here again. The big baddie from the one clan? Are you talking about when Fei or when Shan? Ling Lang asks his sister with a furrowed face. It's when Shan, that big baddie? Little Smile's cheek got all pink and flustered due to that name. Big brother, can you get rid of that big baddie? I hate them. I hate when Fei and her dad. Giving his little sister a comforting rub on the head. Don't worry. This is our Ling family's home. No one can bully you here. After saying this, he turns to meet Bai Yan's inquisitive gaze. A few years ago, my second uncle brought Smile and my little cousin out to play. They met when Fei by coincidence. That's when she gave the two of them a beating. My second uncle went to the one clan's home to demand explanation, only to be driven out by when Shan at the doorstep, claiming it's a fight between kids and that adults shouldn't intervene. Just thinking back to that incident would make Ling Lang's face sink into a dark sneer. Kids' little fight? Humph, that when Fei was already 18 back then, and my sister and cousin is only 4 and 12. A full-grown lady bullying two little kids. What part of that is a kid's fight? And do you know what the real reason behind when Fei hitting my sister? It's because Smile bumped into your foster sister on the streets that day. She saw and got unhappy. That's why she vented her anger out on some kids. There's undisguised anger in the man's eye now. He wanted to get payback for his little sister and cousin. But back then he was studying abroad and couldn't do anything. Now that he's back and all grown up, there's no way Ling Lang would let things go. Big brother? Little Smile tugs at her older brother's sleeve. Can you get rid of them, okay? I don't want that bad man in our home. Be good, Smile. Leaning down to speak softly so she wouldn't cry. Big brother will go now and get rid of those bad people. No one can bully our family's good Smile. When Shan gets clobbered, one. Living room of the Ling household. Bai Rant's expression was awkward and uncomfortable as she sat across from the man whom she once called family. However, the feelings now only carried a heavy air of dislike and hostility. Bai Ran, I came today for only one thing. I'm sure you've heard of Yenner returning already? You came to me for Yen? A flicker of surprise swept across the lady's eye at the mentioning of that name. Did when Shan finally grow a conscience and decide to treat Yen well? But does he think he can erase his own mistakes after making her watch my sister die? Indeed, I came to find you because of that girl. Frowning in the face, the man made a dissatisfied grunt. She's been staying outside for over 10 years, so her temper has changed horribly. The first moment she returned, she immediately poisoned Fei with some kind of pill, causing my daughter to suffer constant pain. I hope you can help me persuade that girl to hand over the antidote and change her evil ways. Bang! Bai Ran slams her hands against the tea table, causing the cups to spill over and hit the ground smashing. She's very angry after hearing that disgusting request. I thought someone like you finally grew a consciousness, but I clearly thought too higgly. You expect me to help you persuade Yen Yen to help your other daughter. Why do you think Yen Yen did that to Wen Fei Fei? It must be because that wild daughter of yours did something to provoke her. Bai ran. When Shan also grew irate at being called a heartless bastard. Getting up from the sofa, he glares ferociously at the former sister-in-law. Chai Moon is my wife, Fei Fei is my daughter. You better show some respect. Over the years, I've neglected Chai Moon and Fei Fei for far too long. I didn't think they would be under this much pressure. Thinking up to here, a sense of guilt would rise from Wen Shan's heart and make him lose control. Chai Moon is your wife. Then what about my sister? Bai Ran doesn't back down and steps forward with a provocative sneer. Your sister is dead. Looking at those contemptuous eyes, Wen Shan's brain would instantly become a blank, thus letting his mouth slip without forethought. It emptied him not only because of the truth behind that outburst, but because of how hollow he felt inwardly. For more than a decade, he never once spoke of Bai Yu's death, only because of the pain for which he partially caused due to his own cowardice. You're right. Bai Ran also darkens in the eyes after that like some life left her soul. My sister is dead, but don't forget, you and that woman were already sleeping in bed together before she was even gone. You and Chai Moon made that Wen Fei Fei while still being married to my sister. Pack. Shocking to the both of them in this living room. A loud, crisp sound of a slap resonated across the air. In its wake was a red fingerprint imprinted along Bai Ran's cheek, stinging her and stunning the woman into tears. When Shan actually didn't want to do that, he reacted out of reflex and rage in the heat of the moment. By the time he realizes what he has done, things were done and he could no longer undo things. R.A. Ran, I didn't mean to. How are you? When Shan gets clobbered, too. Mom! Ling Lang had just walked down the stairs from the second floor when he saw this occur before his very eyes. Without a single thought, the man rapidly rushed down and pushed the bastard away to protect his own mother. Mom, are you all right? Does it hurt? Against the threatening gaze directed at himself, when Shan couldn't deny he's slightly taken aback in that moment due to the boy's aura. Ignoring the fact that this house was General Ling's, the fact that Bai Ran was the old general's daughter-in-law was enough to put him in a bind. Not to mention the other person across from himself was his former wife's younger sister. Whether it be on the surface of underneath, he had no right to hit her. Ran, I didn't mean it. I really didn't mean to. I'm your brother-in-law. How can I bear to hurt you? His words didn't have the chance to finish, though. Next thing he knew was a blurring shadow dashing right down from the second-floor balcony and onto the open living room, causing him to fall backwards as a mysterious force roared into his chest. When Shan, it looks like you forgot my warning already. I told you before, if you provoke me again, then I won't mind removing you from the picture. You don't want to live, is that right? When Shan didn't need to look up to recognize that familiar voice. Instantly, a wave of panic shook the coward's heart. Why are you here? This is my aunt's home. Why can't I be here? As for you, though, you're no longer my mother's husband, nor are you my aunt's brother-in-law. Why are you hitting her? You're not qualified. That said, Bai Yen began to slowly stroll towards the other side, her mouth smirking a menacing cold grin that sent shivers down the coward's back. Right now, in this very moment, the bastard had no question about what would happen if he tried to do anything. The girl there would kill him, he's certain of it. Do you want to beat him? Right as everyone thought Bai Yen was about to act, she suddenly stopped and turned back to look at her cousin. Ling Lang nodded, not bothering to hide his real thought once his gaze met hers. I do. But the flirt knows himself better than anyone. He's not a martial artist, nor does he have the strength of one, meaning he won't be able to compete with an Olympic-level fighter like Wen Shan. All right, you can go ahead. Beat him as you please. Even if you beat him to death, it's still okay. Stepping back after saying that, Bai Yen forms a meaningful smirk, knowing full well the woes of her young cousin. Don't worry. I've sealed his strength so he won't be able to retaliate against you. Even if you end up killing him, he won't be able to resist. Staring for a long minute, Ling Lang eventually came back to his senses and said the only words that came to his lip. Thank you? He's thanking her for giving him the chance for payback. As to whether the act would incur the wrath of the one clan and cause a mess afterwards, that's not within the young man's consideration at the moment. When Shan naturally became shocked from his point of view, he tried to climb up from the ground out of reflex but found his body unable to move an inch. Then, before the man could cry out in defense, Ling Lang's fist had already come flying down, hitting him right in the eye. The flirt may not be a martial artist, but he's undoubtedly a full-grown man at his prime. Beating another guy using his full strength would hurt regardless of how well built their body was, which reflected in the nosebleed that promptly followed after the first punch. When Shan gets clobbered 3. Through all of this while Ling Lang beat the heck out of Wen Shan, Bai Yan never once wavered or showed any signs of pity, only indifference as if she's staring at some unrelated individual. Big sister. It's then a slight tug came from the side and catches her attention. Can you help me suppress when Fei like you did to this big baddie? Pricking her brow up at the request. Bai Yan didn't understand why Smile would ask this of herself. Puffing up those cheeks, Smile quickly explains her reasoning. When Fei hit me and my cousin before, in order to protect me, cousin fractured his leg and is still scared of going out to that park. Then afterwards those big baddies from the one clan said the fight is between us kids and that adults shouldn't intervene. I'm not very old so I don't know much, but even I know someone as old as that when Fei is no longer a kid. I want to help my cousin get payback like you are helping my big brother. She doesn't understand why when Fei would beat her that day, but Smiles know when one should get payback for the misdeeds she suffered at others. It's time for retaliation. Okay. Bai Yan didn't refuse and gladly accepted the idea after getting the details she didn't know before. This Smile, she's just as naughty and cute as Dragony. I wonder if that girl is awake yet. Perhaps she will be sad if I'm not around, and Ling Yan and Jean Tian. Those two must be waiting for me to return. I need to hurry and find out what this amulet wants me to get. I can't stick around for much longer. Showing 2 dimples along her cheeks, Smile was so cute as she giggled away after getting her way. Thank you, big sister. You were so nice to me. Not only did you save me, you're also helping me beat that one Fei. In the eyes of this little girl, anyone who helps her get payback on that one Fei was a good person. Outside the villa, a crowd had already begun to gather due to the commotion. Ling Lang naturally wouldn't really murder Wen Shan before the crowd. However, venting his anger was a must, which showed in the level of blood staining his fist after clobbering the guy. When Shan sprawled onto the floor with all his teeth knocked out right now. That's how badly he's been beaten. Cousin. Bai Yan saw how more and more people were gathering and decides to make her move by winking at the heated guy. Ling Lang couldn't read the lady's mind, but he's smart enough to know the lady must be planning something, so he immediately stepped to one side. Coming forward to stare down at her one-time father, Bai Yan's gaze was dark and full of disgust. When my mother was pregnant you still had your lover give birth to a child. Then after my mother died you had the nerve to bring that woman into her home. If at first the onlookers didn't know what's going, then that statement gave them more than enough hint to catch a whiff of the whole story. Unlike the other world where men would often take in multiple wives into their home, Earth was very different in its custom where having a secret lover would be a huge taboo. Even if the fault lies in the main wife's side, people would still point fingers at the third party. That's how it goes in this world. So, what qualification do you have to come make trouble for my aunt in her home? You slapped her after she simply called out the truth, and you then threatened her to persuade me? My aunt did no wrong. And you think my cousin is only beating you because of your slap against my aunt? You're wrong. Very wrong. He's also beating you for Smile's sake. Gaining momentum in her words, Bai Yan's loud speech catches everyone's ear. How old is Smile? No older than a kindergartner that year, while your daughter is already 18 that year. Then when my uncle went to your home to demand an answer, all you said was that it's a fight between kids and that adults shouldn't interfere. Heartwarming by Xiachen, 1. When Shan's face appeared very embarrassed, although he's a bit overbearing at times. But the guy's not stupid. These things are well known in their private circle, but once it's brought to the forefront, then it's undoubtedly going to bring shame to the entire family. Therefore, he's livid and ashamed at the same time, the indication of the guilt he had in his heart. Sure enough, the looks from all the onlookers are filled with contempt at this point. A full-grown adult bullying a child? Say it's a fight between kids? And won't let the injured side's parent come demand an answer? What a rare sight to behold. A truly shameless bastard. Ling Lang now fully understands why his cousin would tell him to back down. It's to clear his own name so others wouldn't point fingers after this beating. For that, his gaze couldn't be any more grateful. After all, the Ling household was one of the founding members of this country. Whether it be internal discipline of their members, or the reputation given to the public, the Ling family was known for being right and just. For him to openly beat another man in the streets, well, imagine the fallout for his grandfather who's a high-ranking general. Those political oppositions would have a field day making trouble for their family. Cousin? Bai Yan coldly gave Wunshan a glare before turning back to Ling Lang. You've vented your anger, so let's go first. As for him, have some of the security guards come around and toss him out. From now on, don't let any of the people from the one clan hear anymore. Ling Lang dumbly nodded at that order. He's overwhelmed by how quickly things were moving. Then thinking back to how he fell heads over heels for this woman at their first meeting, the guy just couldn't help but sigh in regret. Hotel. In order to stay at such a high-end establishment, those that come are usually very wealthy or influential. Therefore, their confidentiality measures are top-notch and thus making it difficult for one to figure out an individual's room number. Thankfully, Ling Lang had his connections. The son of the hotel's owner was the flirt's drinking buddy. That fact alone was enough to get the receptionist to make a phone call right away. Unbeknownst to his mother's arrival, Bai Xiachen had been curiously fiddling with all of the high-end products in his room. If only little sister and Dragoni is here too. Despite how much fun he's having, just thinking back to those two girls in his family was enough to make the boy droop that face. He couldn't share his joy and that depressed him. Little master. It's then Big Bear, the bodyguard assigned to the steam bun, spoke up. I just got a call from the reception desk that a woman wants to see you. Woman. Bai Xiachen didn't know who, so the identity of said woman befuddled him. Is it someone from the one clan? No. She said she is your mother. Donk. The steam bun had just gotten to playing with the TV's remote controller when he heard this. Thus it didn't come as a surprise that he would drop the item without realizing he did so. The boy flew to the door in the next, rushing to the elevator so he could get downstairs as soon as possible. Big Bear didn't expect such a strong reaction there. After his initial stupor, the big fella promptly gave chase out of fear for the boy getting hurt. He's all too aware of how clueless the young kid was towards the things in the city. Big Bear, do you think that receptionist at the front desk would lie to me? How did mother know where I'm staying? Doesn't she need time to find me? Bai Xiachen didn't know how to work the elevator buttons, so he was standing around anxiously in wait. Heartwarming Bai Xiachen, too. Will mother favor other people's child beside me since I wasn't around for a while? Will she miss me as much as I miss her? No, I'm sure I will miss mother more than she misses me. Mother has too many people to care for, and a lot of babies to worry about. Meanwhile, I only have mother. Swinging his head around to look up to the big bodyguard. By the way, Big Bear, do you think I should change out of my clothes first? Mother likes clean children. I'm not sure if I'm clean enough in this. Big Bear. This would be the first time the big fella discovered his young charge had such a big blabbing mouth. Unlike right now, the steam bun would hardly speak to his old man during his stay at the Water Clan, and when they did speak, it would always cause the young lord to throw a fit. While the two here each had their own individual thoughts, the elevator in question had already reached the first floor of the main lobby after making a ding. And with the door slowly swinging open, a beautiful lady donning a gorgeous red of modern design came into view. Mother! Bai Xiachen was the first to recognize that face, causing his smile to grow exponentially wider to the point where he threw himself at her waist. Oh, how great! Being next to mother is the best. It's so comfortable and warm. Bai Yan was just as happy as her boy. Reaching down to embrace the clingy child, her face radiated a heartwarming shine that could never be found elsewhere. Against this picture, Ling Lang, who was behind the lady, found it surprising and hurting. It goes to show how little importance he was to this newfound cousin of his. Mother, you are the warmest light in my heart. Without you, My heart will always be dark and without clarity. So, mother mustn't go looking for other babies to care for. Okay? You must only like me. Ling Lang was still lamenting at his own menial existence when compared to Bai Xiaoqin's grand entrance when he overheard that poetic phrase. Immediately, the flirt started to twitch in the eye and mouth because he felt ashamed at his own supposed skills to woo the opposite sex. Truly, if a boy that young could spout so much lovely-dovey words, then what would he do when he grows older? Ling Lang couldn't even imagine the sort of storm this nephew of his would rouse once the time comes. Xiaoqin is so good. Giving her son a peck on the cheek, Bai Yan couldn't hide her inner happiness in the way she's smiling. Of course I won't go look for other babies to care for. You will always be the shining sun in mother's heart. Without you, the world will be dark for me too. These days, Bai Yan could never get a decent rest due to not finding this boy. She's a mother, and as any mother would do, they would worry about their children's welfare, like if he's eating right or sleeping well. Heartwarming by Xiaoqin, 3. It's so nice to have a son around. I can't lose him anymore. Xiaoqin, I'll introduce you to someone. This is your distant uncle. Bai Yan points to Ling Lang, who's behind themselves. Turning to the indicated young man, Bai Xiaoqin's eyes were moving like a good fawn before he spoke. Hello, uncle. Instantly, Ling Lang's heart melted away due to how adorably cute the boy was in the way he's addressing himself. Without hesitation, the man pulls out a credit card from his wallet and offers it over. Good Xiaoqin. Uncle here didn't bring any gifts, so this credit card will have to act as our meeting present. The password is 6xxxxxxx. Go ahead and spend it as you please. The young mustn't refuse a gift from their elders, so thank you, uncle. I don't have anything special prepared either, so please accept this from me. That said, Bai Xiaoqin promptly pulls out a bottle of Dan pills to offer. These are the snacks mother gave Xiaoqin. I hope uncle won't mind. Ling Lang's smile literally bloomed with delight then. He didn't think this newfound nephew would be so polite and clever to the point it's making him jealous the boy's not his own son. This child is so sensible, he even knows not to refuse a gift from his seniors and return a gift with his own. Most children nowadays wouldn't know such courtesy. Cousin here taught her son very well. Of course, Ling Lang wouldn't know how valuable the gift he received today was until later on. Otherwise he might lose his wits and return it right away. Big Bear the bodyguard, on the other hand, wasn't so clueless. The second the boy brought out that bottle was when the big fella locked onto it like hawk. He could feel the intense spiritual power oozing into the air. Did I hear it wrong? The little young master said those snacks were prepared for him by the young madam? She has Dan pills in her possession? Even though the Water Clan also had alchemists working under them, but they're the strongest in this region. And based on the big guy's judgment, Bai Yan would at most be one of the members of the 4 lesser martial families in this region. That could only mean it's this lady who refined the precious pill. Uncle, you mustn't eat too many of my snacks at once. Okay? Only one at a time. If you do, then you will become like that Wen Fei Fei. The lad already knew what Wen Fei Fei did during the first encounter. Hence the warning. He doesn't want this kind uncle to be inferior to those of the same level. Ling Lang naturally felt puzzled by the warning, but dismissed it as nothing more than a child's innocent reminder. Reaching over to rub the kid's head. Good Xiaoqin. Uncle here is very happy and will cherish it greatly and not eat a single one. I will keep it on display. Besides, he's already so old. Why would he gorge himself on sweets at his age? Bai Xiaoqin immediately got all serious after hearing that remark. No, uncle. You must eat this. Eat the green one first, then eat the others. Your physique and mine are different, so you mustn't eat more. Otherwise it will be harmful. Ling Lang's mind only got confused after that little outburst. Even so, he remains calm and smiling against that stern-looking child. All right. Uncle here will try your snack as soon as I get back home. As it so happens, your little auntie is also quite fond of snacks. Me and her can eat it together. How old is my auntie? Bai Xiaoqin asks after murmuring to himself about something. Oh, she just turned 9 this year. 9 years old? Then she can eat it. Uncle, you must remember to never let anyone under the age of 5 to eat the snacks. Promise me. Heartwarming by Xiaoqin, 4. This time Ling Lang did not think too much about the remark. After all, young children shouldn't gorge themselves on candies or snacks. There's no wrong in Bai Xiaqin's request. Bai Yan did not explain in this situation despite knowing what her son was worried about. She's rather happy the boy would go to such lengths for Ling Lang because it shows the boy does care about this distant relative. Big cousin, you should go back home first. I still have something to talk with Xiaqin. Against this request despite only getting to know his nephew, Ling Lang didn't deny it. He understood there must be a lot of things to talk about between the pair who just reunited. Making a cool laugh. Of course, don't worry Bai Yan. Your big cousin here knows how to make himself scarce. When you are free, do bring Xiaqin to my home. I'm sure my mother will love to meet him. Once he finished saying that, the flirt promptly realized he's been disregarding a certain someone nearby. His eyes slowly turned to Big Bear and got all wary and vigilant. The guy may not be a martial artist, but he's from a military family, hence his ability to discern danger and those who's physically trained their body. This man, he's just like them. He's a real preconditioner of martial art. Uncle, he's my bodyguard from my father. The steam bun picked up on that gaze and casually explains. When Bai Yan heard her boy said, "Father," the lady's heart literally skipped a beat. Hurrying to grab the steam bun soldier so she could get a proper answer. "Xiaqin, are you saying your father's here? In this place? Ditsong's here? On Earth?" There's an indescribable feeling circulating within the demon queen's heart. Excitement? Not quite. Worry? A little bit. But more than both of those feelings, it's a sense of deep guilt. In this life all she's done was to make that man follow her wherever she goes. Whether it be through danger or peril, it's always like that. Meanwhile, she, on the other hand, couldn't do a thing aside from being a burden. "Mother, let's go inside before we talk." Bai Xiaqin takes a look at the people that's staring over and decides to go elsewhere. He's not comfortable being stared at like some item. "Okay, let's go back to your room." Taking hold of her son's hand, Bai Yan led the way into the elevator. Big Bear didn't follow suit though. He instead went to the parking lot with Ling Lang since he knows it's not his place to eavesdrop on the pair while they talk. Instead, he wanted to give his own advice to the flirt who's clearly clueless to the value of his newfound gift. "The thing you got from the little young master, it's some really good stuff. Don't waste it." This time around Ling Lang simply became bewildered. He knows his nephew wasn't exactly your average kid based on the fact that he could use true martial artists as a bodyguard. But what's so special about the gift? Inside the hotel room, as soon as Bai Xiaqin went inside and saw no one was looking, he promptly threw himself into Bai Yan's arms like a little kitten wanting to snuggle. If it was in the past, then this act would surely make the woman reprimand her boy that he's no longer a little baby. However, she also knows it's been hard on her little precious boy since they came to Earth. "Xiaqin, where is your father now? Where is he?" Bai Yan asks after giving her boy a soothing rub on the head. "Mother, father will come soon. You can ask him in person then. Also, Mother, did you know State Teach sent father back here 8 years earlier?" Heartwarming Bai Xiaqin. 5. 8 years ago? Why is that? Bai Yan pricks her brow in confusion. "Batty father told me that if he wanted to come to Earth, he would need to find a body that's closely matching his own. However, State Teacher could only locate a body through his prophetic ability that should have died 8 years ago to use. That's why Batty father transferred over earlier than us." In other words, Ditsong arrived on Earth 8 years ago while she and her son only arrived recently? Bai Yan's heart immediately tensed up in pain, causing her fists to clench up like she couldn't breathe. "Ditsong had to wait for me for 8 years in some far-off land. I did it again. I made him suffer so much because of my own willful wishes." It's then the woman suddenly recalled back to the time where she spent wandering out in the wild by herself on Earth. Something snapped into place inside her mind because aside from the initial 2 early years where she encountered danger and suffered a lot of injuries, Bai Yan couldn't say the following 8 years were all that perilous. This leads her to believe that must be because her husband's working in the shadows. For example, on many nights the lady would find her senses tingling like someone sneaking around in the dark and stalking her. Of course, Bai Yan never thought too much of it and left it as wariness and fatigue playing at her mind. But now, well, it doesn't take much to connect those dots. Especially the hair-raising cold shiver of when she's bathing in the wild. It's obvious Deetsong was peeking at her naked body while in the water. Mother, Batty Father said he watched you fall from the lightning strike back then. He really wanted to help you block, he really did, but he didn't because he knew how much you cared about the family and friends on the other side. Bai Yan understood why her boy was saying that and smiled in agreement. Yes, I don't blame your father. He made the right choice. I would rather die than to miss the opportunity to meet everyone in the other world. Also, I wouldn't be able to have you if I didn't die that day either. Mother loves you so much, Xiaqin. That said, the woman went ahead to pull her son into a warm embrace to show her affection. Really? The steam bun happily wraps his little hand around hers to show his affection. Nodding, Bai Yan strongly reaffirms the notion. I've used up all my good karma in this life to meet your father. Because of your father, I now have you, Ling Yan and Jin Tian. Besides, there are so many people who cares for us on that side. What else could I ask for? Exhaling a small breather after hearing that statement, the steam bun appears very much relieved. He's been worried Bai Yan would regret dying just to have him and his siblings. If that's the case, what would he do then? Mother, I will be very good and obedient. Those people who brought you harm will pay for what they did. I promise you. Xiaqin here will always be your most intimate and kind baby. Those people who hurt Mother will know what sort of a mistake they made. No one can hurt my mother. No one. Heartwarming by Xiaqin. 6. Bai Yan did not make any friends in the previous life on Earth. Nor did she bring Bai Yi along with her. The reason for that secluded nature wasn't only to enhance her own strength by diving into alchemy and such. It's mostly because the lady had no will to continue living after revenge. She intended to off herself after the fact. However, in the other world, that idea had long left her due to all the warmth she experienced from the friends and family she made along the way. Deetsong knew this, of course. Hence the reason the Demon King didn't save his wife from that thunderbolt. Otherwise, the outcome would be that Bai Yan remains the same old her, the same woman who's only out for revenge and without a will to live. If that's the case, what then? It's not like the Demon King could just rewrite history and then still get the same outcome. That doesn't work. Mother. Bai Xiaqin looks up with his small little head. I miss Grandchiefess and them. I also miss Sister Yi and Auntie. Once we go back to the other world, can we go see them in the human realm? Of course. There's no objection on her part. After all, Bai Yan received a lot of help from those friends and family, especially those who were there at the very beginning where she was at her weakest. On this new lease on life, it's unforgettable. But then just as the mood was going well, the steam bun decides to throw a bomb down that destroyed it completely. Let's go without Batty Father. Just us. Batty Father is too intimidating, and Sister E have a small heart so she will be scared. Immediately, Bai Yan's mouth twitched over that comment. I'll have your father control himself. Getting all pitiful and teary, Bai Xiaqin knew he's not going to get his way this time around. He wanted to hog Bai Yan to himself on the trip. That's why he suggested to leave Deetsong behind. Also, don't say bad things about your father. Bai Yan pinches her boy on the nose as a tease, knowing full well how naughty the rascal could be when it came to her own husband. Making a wronged face after hearing that remark. Then can Mother still snuggle with me if Father is around? Can you still give me a kiss on the cheek too? He purses his lip like some pitiful pet waiting for its owner to consent. Why not? You're my son. Yeah. We can take Batty Father with us then. I'm fine with that as long as I can snuggle with you, Mother. Batty Father may be annoying at times, but I will bear with him if you insist, Mother. As long as he could do as he pleases, then what does an extra Deetsong matter in the equation? Anyways, Xiaqin, when is your father? When is he coming? Waiting for a good moment, Bai Yan eventually asks after succumbing to her own desire. 8 years, no matter how patient the lady was, 8 years was still a long time for anyone. How could she not want to console her own husband after knowing that fact? I don't know. But Batty Father said he needed to do one more thing before coming. I don't know when, but he said at most 2 or 3 days. That said, the steam bun went ahead to tug at her sleeve. Mother, Batty father will definitely come find us. You just need to wait for him, so don't worry. Thinking it over, Bai Yan eventually accepts this fact despite her own urge to search. Okay, I will listen to you. I believe your father will come find us soon. Bai Xiaqin's present 1. Ran. Running into the main living room of the Ling household's estate, the man by the name of Ling Yun appeared anxious in the face when searching for his wife's whereabouts. Only by seeing Bai Ran loftily sipping tea on the sofa did the man calm down. Ran, I heard when Shan, that bastard, came to make trouble. Are you alright? Are you hurt anywhere? Before he came home, Ling Yun had been busy dealing with some business at work when one of his subordinates reported the news of Wen Shan making a scene in his home. That's why he came running back so quickly without checking what has happened on the phone. I'm okay. Our son beat up Wen Shan for me. Hubby, regarding our son beating up that guy, do you think you and father can settle it somehow? I'm worried that when clan will try something. Bai Ran asks with a troubled expression. Initially the lady did not stop her son Ling Lang due to her own grief against Wen Shan. But after cooling her head down and figuring out the gravity of the situation, she knew it's going to get messy. After all, the coward may be a bastard, but he's still the son of the current chief of the One clan. That's bound to cause some trouble for their family. Don't worry about that. Me and Dad can handle the aftermath. Ling Yun smiles reassuringly. Oh right, our son shouldn't be a match for that Wen Shan, right? How come he's able to beat that guy? There's an obvious look of puzzlement in the man's eye because he knows his own boy the best. Aside from being a flirt with those movie stars and girls of high society, Ling Lang didn't have any other special ability. Here, sit down with me and let me explain. I got something really good to tell you. Bai Ran wraps her arm around her husband's and make him sit. Do you remember my older sister's daughter? Thinking back to that name, Ling Yun starts recalling back to the fuzzy memory of that young girl who would often hide behind her own mother. Unlike his wife, he himself didn't have much of an impression from that side of the family anymore. The only impression would be that his niece was well-behaved and sensible, often clingy and very likable. Pity, if the Bai clan didn't face destruction, that child wouldn't be missing for all these years. I remember her. She's called Wen Yen, wasn't she? No, she's called Bai Yen now. Bai Ran harshly corrects her own man. That's what I want to talk about. Bai Yen, that girl, she's back. Not only is she back, she's grown up to be a fine lady. Appearing shocked along the face, Ling Yun quickly speaks. Then did she go back to the One clan? Does she know about Wen Shan's new wife and new daughter? Honestly speaking, Ling Yun had a very bad impression of Wen Shan and held the guy in great contempt. For one thing, taking on a new wife and daughter right after your first family broke apart was enough to make anyone frown. Then did you invite the girl to our home? I would like to see this niece of mine for dinner. It's time we did our part to take care of that poor child. No matter what, she's still our relative. As her uncle, the least I can do is make sure she's doing well. Showing a gentle smile, Ling Yun really meant it when he said he wants to help. Also, go call that rascal that is our son back home for dinner. I want him to help his cousin out since they're around the same age. We're too old to be too involved, so it's better if the young ones interacted more often. PFF. Bai Xiaqin's present, 2. Bai Ran could no longer keep her eyes from forming a curve after hearing her husband's words. She's too happy that it's showing on the surface. Why are you acting so happy all of a sudden? Did I do something? Ling Yun couldn't understand the inexplicable look he's getting, like he's some gullible child being praised. Oh, you don't need to fret about Ling Lang getting to know our niece. Grinning now in the face, Bai Ran pauses to keep her husband hanging as a playful tease. But you did return in time. I want to talk to you about something else as well. Before you return, our daughter almost got hit by a speeding car along the road. What? Ling Yun's complexion got deathly pale, understanding the severity of how close his baby girl came to death today. I know you're busy out there working for our family, but hubby, I suspect someone is out to get us this time. That speeding car is no accident. It's likely premeditated. Ling Yun's beating heart won't stop at the suggestion, causing his hand to clench up greatly when he spoke with that cracking voice. Dear, don't worry. I will make them pay for going after Smile. Dad is already getting old, so don't let him know. I will personally handle this matter. They won't be able to hide from us. The man understood. Unless the one behind the plot gets identified, then the danger would continue to lurk around. By then their family would never be able to rest at ease knowing a shadow was after them. I know you will keep our family safe, hubby, the lady sighs. But we also have to thank our niece Bai Yan as well. She's the one who saved Smile before the car crash. Apparently she's a martial artist like my sister and parents. If at first Ling Yun only took his niece as someone that needs help, then this newfound piece of news only made him feel grateful and proud. Grateful for saving his young daughter. Proud of having such a strong-willed niece who doesn't give up despite the cruelties of life. If so, then we need to invite her over to our house even more. I need to thank her personality and show our hospitality. Unable to hold back a giggle over her husband's antic, Bai Ran couldn't ask for a better response. I'll go have Ling Lang tell her. As the old saying goes, when you speak of someone, then they are bound to show up. Exactly then the main door was pushed open, and in came a handsome youngster who appeared all excited like he's just came home from the carnival. Mom! Guess who I met after going out with Bai Yan? As for his old man, Ling Lang just ignored the guy like he's thin air. That's how little care the flirt had for his own father. Laughing at her son's childish behavior, Bai Ran didn't reject this and happily asked the question, "Oh? And what sort of person did you meet that is making you so jolly?" You will never guess. We were able to find Bai Yan's son right away. That little guy is so cute and adorable. I wish I could kidnap the little rascal to our home. Though the boy is only 8 this year, but he's so clever and smart. If Smile and the boy wasn't related, then I would love to pair them together. They would look like dolls together, I tell you, Mom. Bai Yan's son? 8 years old? Ling Yun's voice suddenly got all menacing when he spoke up from the side of his son, thus scaring the flirt to death under that threatening gaze. Couldn't be helped. Ling Lang had always been the carefree and flamboyant son of this family, constantly disregarding his old man after being old enough to do so. However, before then, Ling Yun was known to be very serious and stern regarding his own son and would beat his bum whenever the flirt caused trouble outside. By Shachen's present 3. Bai Ran hurried to wink at her own boy to stop before angering the man some more, hurrying to help calm the situation. Hubby, Bai Yan's child is very good. Perhaps she got conned in some way back then, that's why she gave birth so young. We don't know the full story, so let's judge her without getting the details. Okay? It's already sad enough on what happened to her. Ling Yun did not respond despite the plea, leaving the whole room in an awkward air of heaviness. Against her husband's heavy expression, the lady only grew more anxious and worried. She couldn't stop staring into the man's eye out of fear on he might think. Ling Lang definitely felt the oppressive air hanging in the room, lowering his head in guilt at making this mistake. Dad, don't be like that, please. I think Bai Yan likes her son very much and seems happy too. Sure, she did get pregnant very young, but I see the child as a gift to her and not a burden. After saying that, the guy also took out the bottle of Dan pills in his possession to show the gift he got. See this, Dad? This is something that child gave me. If anyone is to blame, then it's those bad people who conned my cousin into the ordeal. The two are innocent and shouldn't be blamed. Both of you don't have to be so nervous. I know that girl is a good child, nor will I be prejudiced against her. After all, she didn't have anyone beside her during those tough years. No one can blame her for what happened. But you though, son, if I find out you ever get a girl pregnant without marrying them, then I will break your leg. Ling Lang simply gawked, his mouth ajar in shock after hearing that ending. Isn't this too biased? I didn't even do anything and I still get hit. Dad. Then what about Smile? How dare you jinx your own little sister? Ling Yun grew furious and glared at his own unfilial son. If I find out someone knocked Smile up at that young age, then I will break that animal's leg. As for the baby, our home is more than big enough. We can afford to care for another mouth. Besides, you think everyone is like you who likes to hook up with any beauty that crosses your way? Don't you dare try me. If I find out you really do knock up a girl without marrying them first, then I would rather disown you before I let you step foot into this home. Ling Lang literally squealed, his hair raising into a sweaty mess at that warning. Dad would never dare. It's true this flirt likes to hang around those beautiful flowers. But when have he ever played around like everyone think? He's not the type to mess around, okay. At most a little kiss or a little touch here and there. But even when he does sleep with them, it's only with a condom, never raw. Of course, the woes of this playboy would never reach the ears of those closest to him. The behavior portrayed to the public was simply too strong to the point where Ling Lang would never be able to shirk it off even after marriage. At that point, the man would constantly be dictated around by his wife due to his philandering playfulness. Don't dare. Ling Yun sneered at his own son's promise. I will believe it when I see it. If you ever become someone like that heartless Shan, then I would send you back to the maker than to keep you in my sight. A shudder gripped the flirt's back. For once in his lifetime, he got the sensation that he better keep his manhood in check lest he loses it. He knows his old man wouldn't really murder him, but making his manhood go limp wasn't something out of the equation. There are plenty of medicine and drugs to do just that. Son. It's then Bai Ran finally took notice of the pill bottle in Ling Lang's hand. Did you say that is from Bai Yan's son? Ling Lang finally regained some sense back into himself and nodded. This is the snack Xiachen gave me. He says it's our meeting gift. Hearing this, Ling Yun immediately focused in on his son, and with more anger this time around. You animal! How could you take candy from a child? You are his uncle. It's you who should be giving him a present and not the other way around. By Xiachen's present, for Dad. If I was an animal, then what would you be? Ling Lang meekly mutters this, too afraid to openly speak his mind. Ling Yun. It's at this moment where Bai Ran finally took a better look at Bai Xiachen's present. Reaching over with her hand. Son. Let me have a look at that bottle. Oh, here ma. Handing it over, the flirt scratches his nose like a good son that he was. Initially the lady only had her suspicion due to the familiar scent she smelled from the container's surface. But that suspicion immediately turned to certainty after popping the cork. That scent was intoxicating and brought old memories back to the forefront. Dan pill. These are alchemic pills. What did you say, Ran? The husband nearly lost his own breath at the outburst. I'm certain, these are definitely alchemic pills. Bai Ran's voice sounded very excited. Back when I was living with my parents in the Bai clan, my father had a couple in his treasury, so I was able to come into contact with a few in my younger years. This smell, it's unmistakable. On Earth, only big powerful clans like the Water Clan would have their own personal alchemists in their service. As for the smaller family clans like the Bai clan and such, they could only resort to purchasing a few from various auctions in rare occasions. Mom. You must be mistaken. These are only snacks Xiachen gave me. Ling Lang didn't buy the idea and started to doubt his own mother. However, that suspicion quickly changed to belief after he recalled back to the steambun's warning about eating only one at a time. There's also the comment from that big bodyguard about the bottle being something really good. It can't be. Are these seriously alchemic pills? By now Ling Lang's body had started to tremble because he's only now starting to understand the gravity of the situation. Mom, I really didn't know these are Dan pills. I thought they're only Xiachen's snack. If I had known, then I wouldn't have accepted something so valuable. Should I return it back to him? Now I see why cousin was making that smiling face. Bai Yan knew what her son was giving me. Did Yen say anything? Bai Ran was just like her son and was visibly shaking due to the value in her hands. Alchemic pills, these things are no different from being legendary items for them who weren't part of the martial world. Not to mention they have a whole bottle's worth here. My cousin didn't say anything, and she didn't tell me the truth. Ling Lang was ready to cry at this stage. They likely won't accept it anyways even if you send it back now. Contemplating the issue, Bai Ran eventually came to a decision. Since it's Xiachen who gifted this to you, then keep it. Just don't forget their kindness and know this will change your life forever. Ling Lang's nervously received the bottle back from his mom and held it like some miracle drug. Mom, you're a martial artist, so you should take these pills. Don't you want to get stronger? Bai Ran appeared pleased by her son's offer but shook her head anyways. My talent is already set in stones at this point in my life. Any more will be wasted on me. Besides, the stronger I get then the longer I will live. that means I will have to grow old by myself after your father passes. Spending a lifetime with your father is what I want, not some lonely extension on my lifespan. What's more, she's not going to steal this opportunity from her own children. That's foolish beyond belief if she did. The younger they are, the more benefits these pills would have on them. I remember little Xiachen said to take the green one first. Mom, should I try it now then? It's not like the flirt doesn't want to be a martial artist like his own mom during his childhood. Just that Ling Lang knew his own talent and there's limited resources at their family's disposal. However, the opportunity has now been laid before him, so how could he refuse? It's also a mean for him to get the power for revenge on those who wish his little sister harm. The guy didn't forget that traumatizing moment where Smile almost got ran over by that sports car. By Xiachen's present, 5. Mom, I understand. I will not let my cousin and nephew down. Ling Lang appears determined along the eyes as he stared down at the container. He remembers Xiachen asking him to take the green pill, so he did. Immediately, a burst of air came gushing out of his pores and left the man soaked in his own smelly sweat of grime and filth. The guy had just made the first step into the world of cultivation, a requirement for all who wish to start absorbing the energy around themselves. In reality, there are no lacking in people wanting to dive into the mystic and unknown. Sadly, Earth has become too polluted and impossible to get started. Like in the East, where martial arts need to learn how to wield the energy in the air to begin cultivation, they couldn't really do it due to their veins being plugged with unnecessary elements. As a comparison, it would be the same as a car filled with gas but couldn't ignite it due to its tube being clogged with dirt. Then in the West there's magic, a powerful art that manipulates the energy of this world to the user's bidding. The arcane art may be different to martial arts, but its final goal was the same, where they want to use the energy in the air to their own bidding. That's how they create fireballs and other elemental spells and such. Cleansing Dan pill? If my guess is correct, this is a cleansing Dan pill used by us martial artists to clean out the filth inside our veins. Years ago, I was able to watch an auction selling this type of alchemic pill once. The final asking price was in the billions, so my father was greatly disappointed because he couldn't outbid the final winner. Ran explains, her face showing surprise and joy. Unlike his wife's mood, Ling Yun's brow had furrowed up into a knot instead of being happy. Wife, I'll go close the door first and not let anyone in. You stay here with our son and watch over him. Right now the Ling family was at the tip of the iceberg. Any sudden movement or mistake would allow their opponents to catch on to it and make a mess of things, including ruining Ling Lang's evolution right now. Or maybe worse, murder them for these alchemic pills that's worth billions. The cleansing process took a very long time, by going from the afternoon all the way to the evening. Nevertheless, the flirt's done it now. He may be covered in a sticky layer of grime that turned off even his own mother, but he's done it. Mom, I just had a look inside the bottle and there's more than one of these pills. We can save one for Smile, so you and father should split the rest. Ling Lang offers after coming out of the shower. He felt incredibly refreshed, like all those years of drinking and smoking had never happened. Ran simply gawked her eyes at the container and didn't try to reach over. Instead, she grew hesitant, like she's struggling inside. Truth be told, the woman does want to try one of these alchemic pills for herself and grow strong as well. That way their family would have another trump card against those foes lurking in the shadow. Ling Lang seems to catch on to his own mother's woes and quickly cocked that iconic grin of his. I know you want to stay with father, but look at me, Mom. Don't I look healthier than ever? That pill didn't just push out the dirty stuff inside me. It also did something to my health, and I feel great. Just look at how pearly white my skin is. Don't you want to feel healthy and pretty? I'm sure Dad would love to see that too, don't you think? That did it. All females are prone to fall victim to any beauty products, especially when it could help turn back the age of time on their skin. Without hesitation, Ran picked out one of the green ones and held it before herself. General Ling Kaiyuan's birthday? 1. Husband, these Dan pills. Ran moves her mouth like she wanted to say something but couldn't due to the content. She's obviously worried about something. It's okay, you don't need to say more. In a few days it will be father's birthday. Don't forget to invite our niece to the party. As for the 4 smaller clans, don't invite anyone from their end. Bai Ran immediately showed a surprised look because this meant her husband intends to side with Bai Yan and disregard the 4 smaller clans. Make no mistake, this was no easy decision. After all, they're all part of high society, and openly snubbing that side meant their Ling household would be telling everyone they are not on good terms. Undoubtedly more enemies would take advantage of this fact later on and use this opening. Okay, I'll tell Yan Yan this. I'm sure she will be happy to attend if I ask. Bai Ran sighs a breath of relief. This was exactly the trouble she had. On one hand, she wanted to look out for the benefits of her own family. On the other, she wants to protect Bai Yan and help the lass. Picking one meant damaging the other. Regardless of her choice, someone's going to get the shorter end of the stick. Now it's all become a non-problem thanks to their boy's sudden surprise entry into the equation. Hotel. Bai Shachen was currently fast asleep while nesting himself in Bai Yan's lap. This little thing, he's so cute while asleep. He must be dreaming about something delicious. Look at that drool and happy face. Bai Yan thought, pleased to have her son around again. Bad little rice. As if in compliance to the comment from the lady, the little guy suddenly started to furrow his forehead in displeasure. You're stealing my snacks again. I won't play with you anymore. Bai Yan? This little guy, even when he's dreaming, he's still fighting with little rice over their snacks? But before the woman could go further in her own train of thoughts, a series of phone rings catches her ear. Bai Yan didn't want to wake her son up, so those hands moved fast. However, the number on the screen wasn't one she recognizes. Sure, she did give the cell number to Ling Lang, her cousin, but this new one didn't match up with the flirt's ID. Abruptly, another thought hit the lady like a train wreck, because not long ago Big Bear had asked her for the phone to use. It can't be. Thinking of the possibility that her heart wanted, Bai Yan carefully climbed out of the bed without waking her boy, moving quickly and silently towards the direction of bathroom like a sneaky housewife that's about to meet their secret lover. Once inside and after pressing the receive button, Yan Yan. The voice that came through was low and hoarse, yet it carried a hypnotic tone that sucked the very air out of the lady's throat. It's too familiar and causes her eyes to tear up. Yan Yan. The man on the other end didn't get a reply, so he called out again through the phone, this time carrying even more tenderness and yearning to the point it could melt a woman. I'm here. Bai Yan finally realizes she's being too quiet and muttered this out with sobbing tone. After a long pause on both sides, Yan Yan, I miss you? 8 years of yearning and separation. That's all he needed to convey his feelings. Not far away in the back mountain of the Water Clan's estate, a big orange cat was currently loafing around in the grasses and enjoying the soft breeze when it overheard that lovely beckoning. Immediately, the critter promptly looked up in surprise at the man who never showed such emotions. General Ling Kaiyuan's birthday, too. If anyone else were to be present then, they would surely be taken aback by how humanistic this cat was behaving. It's not normal to act this way for an animal, almost like its intelligence has been elevated beyond that of an animal. Deetsong, where are you now? Bai Yan whispers this, her fingers growing tighter in anticipation for the reply from the phone. I'm taking care of some business outside. Don't worry. I'll come as soon as I'm finished. Yan Yan, wait for me. The man's voice promptly made Bai Yan chuckle due to how apologetic it sounded. Okay. I'll wait for you to come to me, and if you need me I'll go find you right away. Don't worry. I'm your man. I'll fix anything that comes my way and give you a safe haven. That's the initial promise he made to her, so he's going to see that through. Whether it be on Earth or the other world, it's all the same. The corner of Bai Yan's mouth curved upwards, her smile warm and glowing after that lovely cooing. I estimate Shachen already told you the full story. When you disappeared that day outside the Demon City, I immediately called State Teacher back for help. But for some reason, I could only come to the Earth 8 years prior. I've been following you since. Many times, I watched you dive into danger without thinking it through. I hated the experience. On more than one occasion, I had the urge to drag you into bed and give some sense into you. When spouting this sentence, Bai Yan could hear the gritting teeth of her man through the phone. He's really angry with me, isn't he? I'm sorry, Deetsong. This would be a rare occasion for her in not arguing with Deetsong, which in kind tempered some of that flair in his attitude. At the beginning, I lost hope after the Bai clan was destroyed. So, in order to avenge them, I would pay anything to grow strong. I know the Tian clan has a strong backing, but I did not know how strong they were, so all I could do was to improve and improve. If I survived, then I could avenge them, and if I die, then I don't have to live with such pain. But then I went to the other world, the world where you lived. I met my brother Bai Xiao, Chui Yi, and my Shifus along with many more people. It's your presence that made me want to try to living again. Try living so that I can be with you. I'm grateful that you didn't stop me from going to the other world where I got meaning to my life. If I didn't, I would have ended myself even after my revenge. There's nothing in this world binding me here. Bai Yan's now afraid of death, afraid of leaving all these friends and families behind. Therefore, in order to avoid such an outcome, Bai Yan has put her all into growing stronger again, but for a real reason and not just blind vengeance. On the mountain of the Water Clan, Ditsong had grasped onto his own chest like he's unable to breathe due to the words coming off of the cell phone. His wife's confession wouldn't stop ringing in his ear, and it's killing him, all for one simple reason. That so-called backing in causing the Bai clan's demise was the Water Clan itself. Though he turned back time and came to Earth 8 years prior, he couldn't change the tragedy because that had occurred already. Also, he's not the true young lord of the Water Clan, so what right does he have with messing in fate of those living here? General Ling Kaiyuan's birthday, 3. That said about the past, Ditsong also knows the future remains fluid and ever-changing like the flow of a river. He couldn't change the events that's already set in stone, due in part thanks to state teachers' advice. But this demon king would be damned if he doesn't set the future in proper arrangement for his wife. Didn't those people want to use the Water Clan as their backing? Humph. I will have them fall heavily and deeply into the ground before I leave. Yen, believe me, I will solve everything for you. I won't let them off without settling this blood debt. I will also let them have a taste of the pain you suffered. Some things could not be solved with mere death. Only by making them suffer immeasurably while being alive would it be enough to quell that hatred. I'll wait for you to come. Bai Yan says, her voice growing ever so more yearning like her own husband's. But yearning was yearning, it won't help even if they kept talking through a phone. Therefore, the conversation quickly ended after that when they hung up. If Yen calls again, remember to hand me the phone. Ditsong tosses the device over to the big orange cat after hanging up. Meow. The cat complies by calling out, his paws resting on the phone screen and poking at it like a human child playing with a toy. Ditsong didn't mind the fact that his pet was playing with the device. As long as he knows someone he trusts was on watch for Bai Yan's call, then that was enough. Cocking a devious smirk, Tian clan, Fu clan, and the One clan? I will definitely make all 3 of your clans suffer for making my wife endure those grievances. General Ling Kaiyuan's position within this nation was very high. Even though they rarely meddled in the political affairs of each day-to-day business, it still doesn't mean their household had fallen from grace. In fact, it's the opposite, they've never been higher. This time around for the old general's birthday, the family has arranged for a huge banquet to invite those of high assignments. Take, for example, the leading figure of this nation. Though the number 1 official couldn't come attend in person, they still sent a representative to congratulate the old general, thus giving the Ling household immeasurable glory in the public's eye. Despite the desire to flatter such an influential family and its members, those attending wouldn't dare to bring gifts tonight. They've been told specifically not to today, plus they all know the sort of position the old general was in. If they did bring gifts, then it would only give the political opponents opportunity to prod at the old general, claiming he's dirty and easy to bribe. Room. It's then the guests that were still heading inside were stopped in their tracks because a luxurious-looking SUV had pulled into the driveway. Normally expensive cars were commonplace for these wealthy and influential guests. But the car plate was something special in of itself. Who would carry the word rich in its plate numbering? No one, that's why. For one thing, it would be ridiculously hard to get such a combination. Secondly, such a taunting plate name would rouse jealousy from anyone who had an ounce of influence. Yet this guy did, and he's openly flaunting it before high society. But their curiosity was soon quelled once the driver stepped out of the car. Wearing a casual set of brand name's clothes, the guy was definitely handsome. No one could deny that. However, what's important was the fact that they all recognized who this one was: the younger son of General Ling Kaiyuan. Of the Ling household, there are two sons currently holding the helms. The eldest would of course be Ling Yun, the flirt's father who majored in politics. Meanwhile, the younger one would be the business tycoon who currently dominates the businesses under their name. To be clear, this sort of arrangement wasn't out of thin air. Each son took after their parents well. Ling Yun had his father's talent in politics. Meanwhile, the younger one had the mother's talent in business. The old madam of the Ling household wasn't just some flower vase put up for looks. She's actually a famed business tycoon in of herself who carved a business empire before marrying the old general.